Welcome to the fantasy audiobook. Wrong Interrogation Room, the first cracked case shocked the world. Chapter 61. Ning Cheng sat in Zhao Luowei's booth. The surrounding male and female models looked at each other with strange expressions. Especially many male models stared at Ning Cheng fiercely. The arrival of Ning Cheng is not welcome. Zhao Luowei is their financial master, and he spends a lot of money, throwing money like flowing water. It is conceivable that once you can meet such a rich woman, you will be able to live freely in the future. And Zhao Luowei's face value is not low, not worse than those stars, and her temperament is cool and glamorous. If you can catch up, you will definitely be blessed. A handsome guy like Ning Cheng almost crushed them all. It's just to steal their jobs. Let this group of male models have a huge sense of crisis in their hearts. Brother, this is a private booth, can you keep your eyes open and watch it? If you want to grab a drink, you can go to other booths, this is not where you came. In the booth, a handsome male model stood up and glared at Ning Cheng. He thought Ning Cheng was the kind of man who hangs out at the bar and drinks drinks. In the bar, not only girls like to mix booths. Good-looking men also like to mix booths, drink drinks, and flirt with rich women. The Star Bar is another bar mainly aimed at women. Therefore, there are many men who come to Zhao Luowei's booth for drinks on weekdays, but they are all caught up by their group of male models. At this time, Zhao Luowei looked at Ning Cheng. The throbbing in my heart quickly disappeared. She has experienced countless ups and downs, and she is not a little girl who has never seen a handsome guy. Zhao Luowei's eyes have turned into a mocking look. She hates men just as she hates her father who cheated and divorced. Zhao Luowei likes to watch men please her and flatter her humbly. The higher the status and the better the conditions are, the more Zhao Luowei wants to see their ugly side. That would get her excited. In the booth, the male model around him looked at Ning Cheng with bad eyes, and even attacked Ning Cheng, but Zhao Luowei not only did not stop it. Rather happy to see it. She was looking forward to Ning Cheng's embarrassed appearance. In the face of censure and criticism, he was incoherent, and then he was beaten and thrown out of this deck. It's going to be a great drama. It's more interesting than the man who came to the booth a few days ago. Because the condition of Ning Cheng is excellent. With such a handsome appearance, he will surely please many girls in the secular world. But immediately in front of her, he became despicable and embarrassing. Zhao Luowei's body trembled slightly, and she was looking forward to it. Ning Cheng glanced at the tall male model in front of him, and said calmly, "I'm not the one here to drink and mix in the booth." "You're not, who would be?" The male model glanced at Zhao Luowei and saw that she didn't say anything to stop her. Her voice was louder and her arrogance was even more arrogant. "I see that there is no drink on the table, the dragon set, and it's the frozen dragon set. This set of dragons will take a lot of money to gather. Wins Extreme, Cloud, Chat Group 709,972,818. Wins Extreme, Cloud, Chat Group 709,972,818. Have you ever seen such a dragon suit? Quote, your salary for a year may not be able to afford this set of magic dragons." As the voices of male models scolding and mocking broke out, many male models had already laughed out loud. The female models in the booth all looked at Ning Cheng sympathetically. Such a handsome boy has to face such a challenge. Ning Cheng didn't like being accused like this, and frowned. "As I said, I'm not interested in drinks." "You're not interested in alcohol, what are you interested in? Everyone comes to the bar to hang out, who doesn't know who, just get to know each other." The male model was arrogant, took a step, pointed at Ning Cheng, and was about to poke the tip of his nose. "Just get out of here, ah." Only 3 words came out, and it turned into a short scream. Ning Cheng grabbed the opponent's wrist abruptly, pressed down and pushed up and down. The handsome male model could not help bending over and howling miserably. At the same time, Ning Cheng put a hand through his armpit, clasped his big hand around his neck, and suddenly pushed down. Just like what happened in the movie, the male model's head hit the glass table directly. With a loud bang, the glass table burst open, and the wine, melons and fruits on it were scattered all over the place. A sudden scene shocked everyone, including Zhao Luowei. No one expected such a scene to happen. I hate being pointed at me and not listening to explanations. Ning Cheng tore off a silk scarf from a trembling female model and wiped the blood and glass scum from her arms. His movements are gentle, but he gives the impression that he is a gentleman with a butcher's knife in his hand. All male models narrowed their eyes at this moment. This guy is absolutely ruthless. Not what they can provoke. Do you think I'm doing the right thing? It's okay to teach him a lesson if I don't listen to explanations like this, right? Ning Cheng put the silk scarf back on the female model and asked softly. The female model's body trembled and she couldn't even speak. Ning Cheng in front of him, under his handsome face, has a calm temperament, and his face is not angry and arrogant, like a godfather on the road. Zhao Luowei stared at the unconscious male model, her eyes narrowed. She didn't care about the life and death of the male model at all. But Ning Cheng made her feel unpredictable. Originally still a frivolous Wan Kuang prodigal son. Now he has become a gentleman with a calm demeanor and an elegant demeanor. Too mysterious, also very attractive. After all, Ning Cheng is not very old in terms of appearance, but he has such a complex temperament. He must have extraordinary experience to create it. You need to give me an explanation. Zhao Luowei's voice was low, like a lioness who was about to get angry. The territory she controls is being invaded by the man in front of her. I've already said that I'm not here to mess with the booths, and I'm not here for drinks. I'm not interested in drinks. Ning Cheng said calmly. Zhao Luowei asked gloomily, then what are you interested in? Of course I'm interested in you. Ning Cheng shook his head, put away the temperament that is not angry and self-dead, and smiled gently at Zhao Luowei. Alcohol is alcohol when it tastes good, but people are different. You are very beautiful, I like it very much. The smile on Ning Cheng's mouth was gentle and gentle, like a spring breeze caressing his cheeks. Zhao Luowei put away the hostility. Because she found a familiar light in Ning Cheng's eyes. That kind of light, countless excellent men have had her, want to pursue her, get her, conquer her. It's a pity that no man can succeed. Instead, she used it to become a plaything in the palm of her hand. This man is no exception. Zhao Luowei is very confident. Zhao Luowei waved her hand, motioned for the bodyguard to carry away the male model, and said to Ning Cheng, there are many men who have liked me, it's not unusual. No, I'm not like them. What's the difference? I'm far more direct than them. When the words fell, Ning Cheng grabbed Zhao Luowei's hand. Then he pulled her hard, pulled her over, and sat on his lap. Zhao Luowei didn't react at all. Then Ning Cheng hugged Zhao Luowei domineeringly, and gently lifted Zhao Luowei's chin with his left hand. Am I different from them? Ning Cheng pressed against Zhao Luowei's ear and asked softly. At the booth, all the male and female models stared blankly. I didn't expect Ning Cheng to be so fierce and dare to get started directly. Zhao Luowei's bodyguard is here. How dare he? Are you looking for death? Zhao Luowei's face suddenly turned gloomy, and her voice was like ice. Ning Cheng shook his head and said, of course not, just the bodyguards around you are not enough for me to wrap one hand around. You can try to let them come over and see if I die first, or you die first. What do you mean? Zhao Luowei was shocked. You want to kill me? I hate threats the most. Whoever threatens me, I will definitely nip the threat in the bud. At this time, Ning Cheng's voice suddenly became cold, with an elusive killing intent. Zhao Luowei is engaged in illegal and criminal business, and her perception of killing intent is far more obvious than ordinary people. What this guy said is true. No adulteration 203. Zhao Luowei tried to fight back, but her body couldn't move at all. This guy's strength is so terrifying that even her 5th rank black belt is useless. Don't struggle, your strength is good, you should have practiced it, but don't make small movements around me, otherwise it will be bad for me to regard it as a threat. Zhao Luowei felt a strong pressure, and she was completely suppressed, and she didn't move. This guy is a lunatic, he just said he likes her, and now he wants to kill her. You think I'm joking? Zhao Luowei is a woman who doesn't believe in evil. She struggled again. Ning Cheng continued to mobilize her power to easily suppress Zhao Luowei's resistance. Then, his killing intent was unceremoniously released. This killing intent was Ning Cheng imitating Zhao Tianfeng's murderous intent. His killing intent is the killing intent stained with more than a dozen lives and blood on his hands. It is real and terrifying, and it can penetrate into the bottom of people's hearts, making people shudder. Sure enough, Zhao Luowei didn't dare to resist anymore. It's not that I don't want to resist, it's that I don't dare. Because compared to Zhao Tianfang's murderer like slaughtering chickens, Zhao Luowei's criminals who are engaged in the ecological chain of contraband are like innocent little white rabbits, who are more orderly and abide by the rules of the game. But people like Zhao Tianfang are completely unscrupulous, and do not take human life as their life. Of course Zhao Luowei is afraid of death. Afraid that Ning Cheng really kills in anger. All chances of a comeback are gone. From the bottom of my heart. Ning Cheng breathed a sigh of relief. Of course, his purpose in doing this was not to kill Zhao Luowei, but to let Zhao Luowei break the defense. People like Zhao Luowei lack both money and power, but they lack a sense of security. Only in the context of the sense of security can this woman be broken open and loopholes appear. At the same time, Ning Cheng flicked his watch 3 times. His watch is loaded with very advanced monitoring equipment. These 3 clicks are signals to inform Zhou Ziyan that the next step is to be started. Can you let me go now? After a few minutes, Zhao Luowei finally couldn't stand it anymore. She hates the feeling that life and death are in the hands of others. Ning Cheng said, "Of course you can, let the bodyguards back, it's useless without them, after all you can't hide guns." Zhao Luowei did not let the bodyguards carry guns. Because she vaguely felt that she had been targeted by the police. If the police suddenly attacked and tracked her down and found a firearm, it would be enough for her to drink a pot. With 3 or 4 bodyguards right now, it's really hard to deal with Ning Cheng. Zhao Luowei asked the bodyguards to step back and leave, as well as the male and female models. Ning Cheng released Zhao Luowei. Zhao Luowei sat back on the deck with cold eyes, stared at Ning Cheng and sneered. "You said you like me, is that how you like people?" Ning Cheng shook his head. "Of course not, but you are very unusual, you need to use some means." "What's unusual about me? Isn't it a normal rich woman? How can there be a rich woman like you, facing the danger of life and death? The first thing after recovery is not to call the police, but to question me." Ning Cheng smiled lightly and stared into Zhao Luowei's eyes. "You are afraid of calling the police, you are afraid of being targeted by the police, and you may even carry the case on your back." Zhao Luowei was shocked. Ning Cheng was right, he got almost everything right. It was she who vaguely noticed that she was being watched by the police. Zhao Luowei just stopped the company's business and didn't continue, so she came here to relax. But how did Ning Cheng know? Zhao Luowei suddenly became alert, and said calmly, "I don't understand what you're talking about. I'm not afraid of the police, I just don't think it's necessary to trouble them. And I believe that you are not an ordinary person, not just like me. Or you don't like me at all, but you have some purpose for me to approach me." Quote. Ning Cheng admires Zhao Luowei's intelligence and vigilance. Zhao Luowei is essentially right. He approached Zhao Luowei with the purpose of taking the ledger. Fortunately, before coming, Ning Cheng specially prepared a plan. Otherwise, after being guessed by Zhao Luowei, the car may really overturn in the gutter. "I admit that I'm not an ordinary person, but I do like you, which cannot be denied." Ning Cheng smiled lightly, his eyes lingering on Zhao Luowei. "Few men don't like beautiful women like you, right?" Feel the attack of the eyes. Zhao Luowei felt that her whole body was scanned by radar, her body was numb, trembling like an electric shock. "This is an unprecedented experience." Zhao Luowei subconsciously said coldly, "Your love is not out of your heart." "I don't mind." Ning Cheng had already thought of the answer in his heart and admitted it directly and generously. This answer was completely expected by Zhao Luowei. If Ning Cheng said that she liked it out of her heart, she would feel false hatred instead. "You're so honest, don't be distracted. I'm very curious, with your good looks and skills, there should be no shortage of beautiful women around you." Diaresis. Quote. "For you, even high-quality beauties like me will not be lacking. Why did you come to provoke me?" Zhao Luowei stared at Ning Cheng's facial expression and continued to test Ning Cheng's purpose. "Because you are rich, you are a rich woman, can I eat soft rice?" Ning Cheng opened his mouth and said, "You think I'll believe it?" Just when Zhao Luowei was about to say this, on the dance floor of the bar, more than a dozen big men in black came over. Ning Cheng glanced over and saw the group of people. The group of people looked bad, all of them looked fierce, and they were extremely difficult to mess with. My enemy is here, Ning Cheng whispered. The enemy. Zhao Luowei swallowed the words he just wanted to say, and looked at the group of black-clothed men who rushed over. It's them. Yes, they are my enemies, they want to kill me. Ning Cheng sighed and prayed, can you help me and let your bodyguard block me, I'm going to run away. According to Ning Cheng's appearance, few women will refuse what is within their power. Especially Ning Cheng's soft voice can inspire the deepest sympathy in a woman's heart. Ning Cheng was staring at Zhao Luowei, speculating in her mind about her decision. Not surprisingly, Zhao Luowei will definitely refuse. Zhao Luowei always took pleasure in teasing men, but Ning Cheng threatened her just now, and it was impossible to help him. I reject. Zhao Luowei, as Ning Cheng guessed, chose to refuse. But Ning Cheng doesn't care. Whether it is Zhao Luowei's rejection or acceptance, they have already entered the layout of Ning Cheng. Where is it so easy to escape? The upcoming chase scene in front of me is the game set up by Ning Cheng for Zhao Luowei. The purpose is to let Zhao Luowei see his value. Ning Cheng can meet Zhao Luowei's security needs. It's useless to refuse. How can people on the road get off so much? Ning Cheng smiled softly. What's the meaning? Zhao Luowei had a bad feeling in her heart. I saw that group of big men with big arms and round waists rushed towards this side aggressively, and without saying a word, they took the lead in overthrowing Zhao Luowei's bodyguard. After hitting the bodyguard, the big man at the head spread out a mass of newspapers in his hands, and inside it were watermelon knives that shone with cold light, nearly 40 centimeters long. Hack him to death, that woman is probably his woman, don't let it go. The big man roared, took out the watermelon knife and greeted Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng's eyes are dignified, and his body is ready. This drama is about Ning Cheng winning the trust of Zhao Luowei. So the action is real. And in order to prevent Zhao Luowei from seeing her identity from her actions, Ning Cheng deliberately explained that Zhou Ziyan's arrangement of participants cannot be police officers. Right now, this group of people is ferocious, and they took out their knives. They are professional enough. It should be a real mess. So much so that Ning Cheng didn't dare to let his guard down. Unarmed and armed damage are two completely different things. If he is hit by a knife, he will be seriously injured. Call. The big man slashed at Ning Cheng with a knife, and the younger brothers around him were not idle, and greeted Ning Cheng one after another. There were also several younger brothers who greeted Zhao Luowei. Zhao Luowei's eyes widened, and she quickly pulled away to dodge. At this time, she already understood what Ning Cheng's words meant. These people will not let her go. It seems that she was passively involved in a dispute on the road. Contact the Godfather temperament just distributed by Ning Cheng, as well as the current emergencies. She guessed that Ning Cheng's identity will never be simple. Walk. After defeating several black-clothed murderers, Ning Cheng made away and took Zhao Luowei's hand to escape. Had to escape. He felt that this group of people had also practiced, and they had knives in their hands, which was extremely difficult to deal with. He almost got lucky just now. If it was another police officer, he would have been lying on the ground by this time. Where did Zhou Ziyan find someone so fierce? Too realistic. Even he didn't dare to stay too long. At the same time, Zhou Ziyan, who was listening outside the bar, didn't hear Ning Cheng's voice for a long time, and immediately realized that something was wrong. She picked up her phone and made a call. Second uncle, let me ask you, how many people did I send you to teach me? 15, 5 more than the 10 you gave. The voice opposite said with a long smile, Diaresis uncle, is it really helping you? And these 15 people, I have asked my friend's security company to come according to the top specifications, all of them are very skilled, and they also have knives. I can definitely teach that stinky boy a lesson and give you a bad breath. Quote. Zhou Ziyan panicked, what's wrong? Of course it's out of anger. You asked me to find someone, and you gave me a photo. Seeing the way you were gnashing your teeth, I knew that kid must be a scumbag, and he slapped you. Such a dog thing, if the second uncle can spare him, he must teach him a lesson. Zhou Ziyan recalled how she told her second uncle to find someone. At that time, she saw that Ning Cheng was so charming after wearing makeup, and she went to the entertainment venue like a bar, and she felt really uncomfortable. But whoever thought of it, was misunderstood by his second uncle. Done. Could Ning Cheng be cut off? Zhou Ziyan immediately hung up the phone and wanted to call Ning Cheng. But at this moment, there were 3 subtle tapping sounds from the tiny monitor on the opposite side. This is a safe signal. Released by Ning Cheng. Zhou Ziyan breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, Ning Cheng was completely safe, otherwise she would have been injured, and she would not have known how to face him. Inside the Star Bar, after Ning Cheng escaped with Zhao Luowei, he ran all the way to the middle of the dance floor. The group of criminals in the back are chasing after them, holding bright knives in their hands. Are you rich? Ning Cheng asked Zhao Luowei. At this time, are you still thinking about money? Zhao Luowei said angrily. It's really stupid and cute, I mean using money to get in the way. Ning Cheng scolded rudely. Zhao Luowei was very smart and immediately understood what Ning Cheng meant. She took out the cash bills in her arms to reward male and female models, and threw them all into the air. The banknotes flew into the sky and landed. Instantly attracted countless people squatting on the ground and looting. Taking advantage of this created gap, Ning Cheng pulled Zhao Luowei and ran decisively. His fingers tapped the monitor lightly 3 times, sending a signal of safety to Zhou Ziyan. At this time, Ning Cheng suspects that something may have gone wrong on Zhou Ziyan's side. This game is too real. Just now, Ning Cheng was almost cut down, very dangerous. Is that so fatal? Running out of the bar, Zhao Luowei grabbed Ning Cheng tightly. Zhao Luowei really didn't want to experience the dangerous life and death scene just now. Ning Cheng's strength is beyond imagination. Under so many long knives just now, he was unscathed, which is really too fierce. And bring her out, she has to remember this love. Zhao Luowei didn't hesitate to get on Ning Cheng's Kawasaki motorcycle. It wasn't until she ran far and reached a safe area that Zhao Luowei breathed a sigh of relief and calmed down from her trembling emotions. Where are you going? Zhao Luowei asked. Ning Cheng faced the cold wind. I don't know. Zhao Luowei leaned behind Ning Cheng and suddenly suggested, why don't you go to my house then? Go to your home. On the Kawasaki motorcycle, Ning Cheng was stunned for 2 seconds. He didn't expect things to go so smoothly. Did Zhao Luowei really trust him because of his lack of security? Let me go to your house, why? While driving, Ning Cheng asked tentatively. Don't you be curious about my identity and suspect that I have another purpose in approaching you? Of course I'm curious about your identity, but I don't want to care so much. Zhao Luowei narrowed her eyes and smiled softly. You came to my booth, didn't you just say it? Meeting is fate. It's an encounter when we can meet. Do you want to go now? Of course I'm going, why not go for such a good opportunity? Ning Cheng asked back with a smile, his eyes suddenly narrowed. Zhao Luowei has a high IQ and is definitely not a woman who is easy to be emotional. Ning Cheng originally planned to use this drama to gain Zhao Luowei's trust, and wait until a certain time to plan the ledger in Zhao Luowei's hand. But, Zhao Luowei has made a proposal. Ning Cheng is not good enough to refuse. Otherwise, it doesn't fit the character of his mysterious hunter. That will reveal the secret, which will cause Zhao Luowei's suspicion. But having said that, Zhao Luowei may have doubts about Ning Cheng's identity and purpose now. Inviting Ning Cheng to Zhao Luowei's house is likely to be a trial. There is Zhao Luowei's home court, she has the opportunity to take the initiative and has a sense of security to deal with Ning Cheng. Action tonight, it seems, will not be easy. Where is your home? Ning Cheng asked casually while sitting on the locomotive. As early as in the file, Ning Cheng knew Zhao Luowei's residence. She lived in Guanlin Villa. In fact, the police have always wanted to start a search on Zhao Luowei. But I'm worried that Zhao Luowei didn't hide the ledger in the villa, that would be shocking. Guanlin Villa, where are you going? The roar of the locomotive was roaring on the side of the road, and Ning Cheng took Zhao Luowei to the Guanlin Villa soon. Sure enough, it's a rich woman, living in such a good place. 203 Ning Cheng came here as an ordinary person for the first time, sighed, and walked into the villa room. The room is decorated in Western European style, elegant and luxurious, with a gorgeous charm. Go in. Zhao Luowei pulled Ning Cheng into the room, her beautiful eyes staring at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng also looked at Zhao Luowei at the same time. A charming smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. There is an ambiguous smell in the air. Ning Cheng is comfortable on the surface, but he is actually panicked inside. If they really follow this operation, they may reach the breakthrough step. This is totally what Ning Cheng doesn't want to see. His purpose was just to get the ledger and he didn't want anything to happen. This is not making a movie, and Ning Cheng doesn't have this idea at all. So what are you looking at me for? Zhao Luowei rolled her eyes at Ning Cheng, took off her long skirt in a charming manner, did not shy away from Ning Cheng's gaze, and walked to the bathroom step by step. I'm going to take a shower first, you can't peek. When she was about to walk into the bathroom, Zhao Luowei turned her head and blinked at Ning Cheng. Don't worry, I will definitely wait for you. Ning Cheng smiled slightly, his eyes lit up, and he pretended to be impatient. When Zhao Luowei walked into the bathroom and heard the sparse running water inside, Ning Cheng let out a small breath. We must think of a countermeasure now, otherwise something might really happen next. Ning Cheng doesn't want to make mistakes on this old woman. But, how should I do it? If there is no substantive action next, it is likely to arouse Zhao Luowei's suspicion. Once doubts arise, not to mention getting the ledger, even getting the trust of Zhao Luowei is a problem. Get the ledger. Ning Cheng's eyes narrowed, and his eyes glanced around the room. The most dangerous place is the safest place. Will Zhao Luowei keep the ledger in the room? If you can get the ledger CDBC in the room, then you can solve all contradictions once and for all. Don't make excuses with Zhao Luowei here. Try it. In the bathroom, Zhao Luowei's figure showed a graceful shadow through the glass. Ning Cheng had already made a secret decision at this moment, patrolling the room silently. A dazzling array of wine cabinets. There are red wines on them, but there is nothing on it. There is no ledger in the mezzanine of the bookcase, nor is there a ledger on the desk. Will there be? Ning Cheng glanced at cabinet after cabinet, but found nothing. But right now, when Ning Cheng returned to the bedroom, he opened the drawer of the bedside table. He found a small password safe. The ledger is hidden here. Ning Cheng's eyes narrowed slightly, but he didn't act rashly. Because the bathroom has stopped the sound of water at this time. Through the shadow of the glass, Ning Cheng saw Zhao Luowei getting dressed. Soon after, Zhao Luowei came out of the bathroom, wearing a white bathrobe. Water droplets congealed on the tips of her shawl's long hair, her lotus steps moved slightly, her waist twisted, and Zhao Luowei's glamorous temperament no longer existed. Instead, it's like a seductive fairy. Has a unique charm. Ning Cheng was sitting on the edge of the bed, the shirt on his upper body had been taken off, revealing his lean and strong muscles, with well-defined muscles and powerful explosive power. You've been waiting for a long time. Zhao Luowei stared at Ning Cheng, biting her cherry lips with her teeth, and said with a light smile. Don't worry, I'll go get a glass of red wine. Very good, I can't wait, don't make me wait too long. Ning Cheng was eager to try, and he was already thinking about arresting Zhao Luowei. The ledger is now likely to be hidden in a password safe. As long as Zhao Luowei is in uniform and forced to ask for the password, you can get the ledger. Ning Cheng has made up his mind to stop, and has no plans to continue playing this game with Zhao Luowei. Darling, are you in a hurry? Soon after, Zhao Luowei returned to the room with an expensive bottle of red wine in her hand. Ning Cheng stood up and scolded with a chuckle. Of course I've waited for a long time, you little goblin, see if I don't punish you. Stop, don't move. Suddenly, Zhao Luowei took out a gun from the bathrobe and aimed it at Ning Cheng. The smile on the corner of his mouth disappeared. What do you mean? The smile on Ning Cheng's mouth also disappeared, turning into a questioning look. Are you still here for me? Zhao Luowei sneered and said, Tell me, who are you, and what is your purpose for approaching me? I don't understand what you mean. Ning Cheng said still calmly, shaking his head. You still want to play dumb with me? Zhao Luowei stared at Ning Cheng coldly, and suddenly pressed the safety catch of the pistol. Originally, you were in the bar booth, controlling my life. Now I have a gun in my hand, even if you are very good, as long as I pull the trigger, it is useless for you to be good. Quote. I advise you to recognize the current situation. Who is stronger now? I'm not wrong. You are a police officer. The pistol was aimed at Ning Cheng. He instinctively felt the great danger, and the hair on his body burst out. Where on earth did I arouse your suspicion, and there was a flaw? Ning Cheng frowned. When he came to this room, he had done it with extreme caution. Where exactly did Zhao Luowei discover his flaws? You finally admit that you are the police. The corners of Zhao Luowei's mouth rose, showing a proud expression. Weakness, your flaws are not many, but they are deadly enough. What's wrong? Don't you mind letting me be an idiot? Ning Cheng took a deep breath. First, I invited you to my villa to test you. Zhao Luowei didn't mind letting Ning Cheng know the details. Because she likes to see the surprised expression of a good man knowing that he is being manipulated in her hands. I know this very well. Ning Cheng nodded. Since you are clear, but your acting is too fake, it is inconsistent with your performance in the bar booth. Zhao Luowei said. In the bar booth, you acted like an old lover, and you have a lot of desire for me. Single quote. After you came to the villa with me, I took off my clothes and went to take a shower, but you were able to hold it back. And when I was taking a shower, you hadn't come in yet, which doesn't match your personality at all. Quote. Ning Cheng. All right. The flaw is that Ning Cheng is not enough to drive, and he has scruples in his heart. When it comes to such an occasion where meat and vegetables are not taboo, he is restrained. What else? Ning Cheng felt that Zhao Luowei had noticed something else. And this is it. Zhao Luowei took out her mobile phone, and a video appeared on it, which was the scene of Ning Cheng patrolling the room. A look of surprise appeared on Ning Cheng's face. He didn't expect that Zhao Luowei would be so mad that he had installed a miniature surveillance camera in his own room and bedroom. She is extremely insecure in her heart, and it has reached this point. The flaw is here. Ning Cheng can't blame anyone. He still underestimated Zhao Luowei's psychology. Can you imagine? I don't trust anyone at all, not even where I'm staying. Zhao Luowei put away her phone and looked at the small password safe on the bedside table. You did it for that ledger, didn't you? Sure enough, it seems that I have been targeted by the police. What do you want to do? Ning Cheng took a deep breath and asked, Want to kill me? Your crime of selling contraband sibutramine will not get you the death penalty. If you kill me, you will kill the police, and you will not be able to escape legal punishment. Zhao Luowei hesitated. Killing a police officer is a terrible crime. Once you start, there is almost no way out. The country will definitely not let her go, and the police will use all their strength to hunt her down, even if she flees abroad. Why don't you stop? Ning Cheng's voice was soft as he urged. Surround yourself in, the punishment can be reduced. Single quote. Impossible, it's impossible for me to go to prison, so what if I kill you? Zhao Luowei's eyes barely concealed killing intent, and said coldly. I hate others to deceive me and threaten me the most in my life. You have done both of these and you must die. I have to die, do you think you can kill me? Even in the face of the pistol, Ning Cheng's face is still calm. Because he has the magical ability to turn things around and turn the tide against the wind, 3 seconds of unlimited hypnosis. What do you mean, I can't kill you? Zhao Luowei smiled coldly and said, I think you should beg me for mercy now, maybe, I'm kind enough to let you go. Really, how about we take a gamble? As Ning Cheng said, he raised his hand in front of Zhao Luowei. I count 3 numbers in front of you. After 3, 2, 1, you can kill me, I will admit it. Just after he finished speaking, he snapped his fingers suddenly. When the words just came out, Ning Cheng's 3 fingers had already attracted Zhao Luowei's attraction, and then he snapped his fingers. Snapped. A crisp snap of fingers fell. Zhao Luowei stared at Ning Cheng's slender fingers. Suddenly, there was a brief trance in the spirit. 3 seconds is enough time to do a lot. This is a great opportunity to turn the tide against the wind. Ning Cheng took the pistol from Zhao Luowei unceremoniously and pointed it at Zhao Luowei's forehead. Wake up. 3 seconds passed, and Zhao Luowei woke up from the trance. Waiting for her is a dark pistol with a cold light. This pistol was hers 3 seconds ago. After 3 seconds, the pistol became Ning Cheng's. How did you do that? Zhao Luowei's eyes widened, looking at the pistol in Ning Cheng's hand in disbelief. How did my pistol get into your hands? What did you do to me just now? Zhao Luowei was very smart and immediately realized that there was something wrong with her mental trance just now, and was manipulated by Ning Cheng. What do you think? Ning Cheng smiled softly, now in control. You can hypnotize. Zhao Luowei's eyes narrowed, thinking of this amazing answer. That's hypnosis, right? You count 3 seconds, and the fingers that follow my eyes move, falling into your hypnosis technique. Single quote. You guessed it right, but unfortunately there is no reward. Shameless. Zhao Luowei glared at Ning Cheng fiercely, and scolded, "You clearly said that you only snapped your fingers after you counted 3 times. But you snapped your fingers just after saying that." "No, in that sentence, I happened to count down 3, 2, 1, but you didn't notice it." Ning Cheng had no desire to explain to Zhao Luowei, and said directly, "Tell me, how much is the password safe? You can't get half a word out of my mouth." Zhao Luowei glared at Ning Cheng angrily, wishing to kill Ning Cheng. Several times, she fell into Ning Cheng's layout and was played with it. Zhao Luowei hates this feeling the most. "You are not afraid, do you think that, as a policeman, I can't get the safe code from your mouth without coercing you with torture?" Ning Cheng asked. "Do you dare to touch me?" Zhao Luowei sneered and mocked. "As soon as I tried to test you with a breakthrough relationship, you were tied up and revealed your flaws. A principled policeman like you can hold back your indifference in the face of a stunner like me, and will you attack me?" Quote. Ning Cheng smiled coldly. "This is not a police station, what do you think?" Zhao Luowei snorted coldly. "It's not the police station, so you dare to do this to me and use torture to extract a confession. I will enter the police station sooner or later. When I am detained, I will apply for a lawyer's injury examination. As long as I have the slightest injury on my body, your police uniform will be removed. You know the law very well." Ning Cheng smiled calmly. "Is it because I have been in a state of insecurity for a long time, so I learned the legal provisions?" Single quote. Zhao Luowei said unceremoniously, "Of course, I know the law very well. As long as you do something that violates the judicial process, I will also apply for a lawyer to sue you when you enter the police station." Zhao Luowei was indeed right. At this time, once Ning Cheng attacked Zhao Luowei, causing injuries and being discovered by the lawyer, he may file a lawsuit with the prosecution. At that time, Ning Cheng will be very passive, and it is possible to be expelled and demerit. But that doesn't mean Ning Cheng doesn't have another way. Ning Cheng glanced at a row of skill labels on the system panel, world-class micro-expression analysis experience. This skill was acquired by Ning Cheng by checking in at the police station, and now it is enough to work. Micro-expression analysis. This is an extremely powerful skill, and it can be called a realistic version of mind reading. It has a wide range of applications. Micro-expression analysis can play a huge role in various occasions such as major country diplomatic negotiations, business negotiations, and interpersonal communication. A good micro-expression analysis master is invaluable. Do you think that's it? There's nothing I can do about it. What do you mean? Zhao Luowei asked. Ning Cheng said calmly. In the password safe, there is actually no ledger that records the flow of funds of sibutramine. What are you kidding? Zhao Luowei's eyelids jumped and explained. There is indeed a ledger in the safe, and there is also a bottle of concentrated sulfuric acid inside. As long as the password of the safe is wrong, the agency will let the concentrated sulfuric acid corrode and burn the ledger. Ning Cheng, let me go, let me leave the country, I can give you the ledger. Zhao Luowei's voice became soft, and she stepped towards Ning Cheng, her bright red nails painted on his chest. I can accompany you for one night, no one will know, and you will not violate discipline. I'm afraid I will let you accompany me, and you will report me after the incident. Ning Cheng smiled slightly. Don't deny it, there really is no ledger in that safe. You can't lie to me, because your body has already told me. Just when Zhao Luowei answered, Ning Cheng noticed the change in Zhao Luowei's expression. Zhao Luowei's jaw dropped, his lips and mouth relaxed, and his eyes fluttered to the right. These are all signs of a clear lie. Zhao Luowei is obviously lying, worried that Ning Cheng is telling the truth. I didn't lie to you, believe it or not. Zhao Luowei sneered and sat directly opposite Ning Cheng. She didn't believe Ning Cheng would kill her. Without getting the ledger, there is no problem with her personal safety. Besides, judging from the previous series of actions, Ning Cheng is a very principled police officer. Although it was cruel to her, Ning Cheng ignored Zhao Luowei. He really wouldn't do anything to Zhao Luowei. But his next move, it will likely become a shadow that will linger in Zhao Luowei's life. Ning Cheng picked up the tablet in the room and brought up the map of Zhongcheng. His pupils widened, and he quickly scanned every inch of the map. In Ning Cheng's heart, he memorized every sign on the Zhongcheng map, every place name, every shopping mall. Flowers. For Ning Cheng, memory is a world-class skill that he has mastered early on. Although it is impossible to remember it, you can use the memory palace method in a short time to remember the detailed address and characteristics of a map. Knock up, knock up, knock up. Ning Cheng's fingertips tapped on the glass table, faster and faster. Ning Cheng felt that his eyes were a little tired, so that they appeared slightly dry. But, at the same time, every sign on the Zhongcheng map, every place name was imprinted in his mind. After a while, each place name was accurately stored in every place in the Palace of Mind. Donghu District, Zaihu District, Ziping District, Nanchang District, High-Tech District, Old Street, Changshu District, Tianmen District. This moment, every district in Zhongcheng quickly crosses in Ning Cheng's mind. Flashbacks. The sound and frequency of the fingertip tapping on the desktop is getting faster and faster. But Ning Cheng's heart is surprisingly quiet, immersed and intoxicated in this extreme state. 0. It was as if he could no longer hear any sound except his own thumping and accelerating heart. Zhao Luowei watched Ning Cheng fall into a strange state, feeling more and more uneasy in her heart. She wants to try to escape. But Zhao Luowei felt that as long as she left, Ning Cheng would never be polite to her. The bullet will land on her head. Zhao Luowei didn't dare to move. Time goes on like this. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. It wasn't until the 5th minute that Ning Cheng opened his eyes. What were you doing just now? Zhao Luowei couldn't help but ask curiously. Ning Cheng didn't hide. Back the river city map. Zhao Luowei was puzzled. Memorizing the map. Why memorizing the map? Ning Cheng said, because you didn't tell me the whereabouts of the ledger, and I couldn't threaten you. I had to use this method to let you tell yourself where the map was hidden in Zhongcheng. Zhao Luowei groaned in her heart. She didn't understand why Ning Cheng was so sure that there was no ledger in the password safe in the room. There was indeed no ledger in the safe, and she kept the ledger in a private bank in Zhongcheng. However, Zhao Luowei will not tell Ning Cheng the real address if he is killed. Now, the ledger is the only bargaining chip that Zhao Luowei exchanges. Never give it away. Ning Cheng said it was funny to ask her to say the address of the ledger herself. How could she say it herself? Are you ready, Zhao Luowei? Ning Cheng is watching Zhao Luowei. He is going to start reading minds. Ning Cheng, what are you going to do? I warn you, if you dare to use means against me, I will ask a lawyer to sue you. Don't worry, it won't cause any harm to your body, but I will not be responsible for the shadows you cause psychologically. What are you trying to do, Ning Cheng? I warn you not to mess around. Zhao Luowei was a little excited. If Ning Cheng did something outrageous to her, she wouldn't be afraid. Zhao Luowei was afraid of what Ning Cheng was going to do. If you obediently tell me where the ledger is, I will naturally not embarrass you. How about giving you one last chance? Ning Cheng pulled up a chair and sat opposite Zhao Luowei. The ledger is in the safe, do you believe it or not? Zhao Luowei said arrogantly. Of course I don't believe it. Ning Cheng stared at Zhao Luowei's facial expression, and asked softly, where did you hide the ledger in Zhongcheng, the urban area, or the suburbs? This moment, when Zhao Luowei heard the urban area, her eyelids twitched slightly. Looks like it's in the city. Zhao Luowei's pupils were slightly opened, and her heart was full of shock. How on earth did Ning Cheng know that her ledger was hidden in the city? Is this deliberately deceiving her? Which direction is Zhongcheng downtown, southeast and west? Looking at Zhao Luowei's expression, Ning Cheng smiled slightly and asked lightly, it seems that in the west of Zhongcheng city, there are 7 districts there, Zaihu District, Ziping District, Nanchang District, High-Tech District. When it came to the high-tech zone, Zhao Luowei's facial expression appeared stunned again. Ning Cheng smiled lightly, it seems to be in the high-tech zone. There are 3 main roads in the high-tech zone, Zhongnan Avenue, Gaoshan Avenue, Ziyang Avenue. Understood, it's Ziyang Avenue. Ning Cheng continued to ask, where is Ziyang Avenue? There are Shengjing District, Dongfu District, Mingyu District. It seems to be Mingyu District. Ning Cheng looked calm and clear. But Zhao Luowei looked like he had seen a ghost. Ning Cheng approached the place where her ledger was hidden step by step. How exactly? How could he have guessed? Zhao Luowei swears that she has never told anyone where the ledger is hidden. How did Ning Cheng know? He seemed to be the devil in her stomach, guessing her mind. Ning Cheng, stop guessing, the ledger is here. Zhao Luowei's face was a little grim, and she glared at Ning Cheng. But, however, Ning Cheng suddenly didn't care, and there was a mysterious smile on the corner of his mouth. Where is Mingyu community? Inside the community, or outside the community? It's outside the community. You actually hid the ledger outside the community, not in the community. Ning Cheng's eyebrows narrowed slightly, thinking about the internal and external shops in Mingyu community of Zhongcheng, and said, Mingyu community is a high-end community in Zhongcheng. There are many large supermarkets and banks there. Is it in a bank, state-owned or commercial? Hearing the name of the commercial bank, Zhao Luowei immediately set off a storm in her heart. Ning Cheng guessed that the ledger was hidden in a commercial private bank. How did you do it? Is he the devil? Ning Cheng watched Zhao Luowei's expression change, and he already understood it, said. There is only one commercial bank over there, which is CITIC Commercial Bank, and has opened a private bank storage service. Where is it right? Zhao Luowei didn't answer, her face was expressionless. Ning Cheng is like the devil in her heart, whether he speaks or not, he can guess. Zhao Luowei really didn't dare to say any more. But it doesn't matter whether Zhao Luowei answers or not. The subtle expressions on her face have already told Ning Cheng the answer. You hid the ledger in China CITIC Bank, there should be a safe, and set a password. Zhao Luowei stared at Ning Cheng coldly, her eyes full of hatred and the pleasure of venting. What if Ning Cheng knew where the ledger was? Without the password, the safe cannot be opened. If you want to forcefully break the safe, it will only result in the destruction of the documents inside. Do you think I can't get the password? Ning Cheng smiled lightly and said, your password is your mobile phone number. The last 6 digits of your ID card. Common network numbers. After asking 3 numerical questions in a row, Ning Cheng saw only faint jokes and mockery in Zhao Luowei's facial expressions. It seems that these 3 are not, it's hard to guess now. Ning Cheng showed a sad expression, which made Zhao Luowei want to laugh wildly. The ledger is her only bargaining chip. Even if Ning Cheng knew where the ledger was hidden, so what? Without knowing the password, it's all in vain. If I'm right. Ning Cheng suddenly stood up, looked at the Tai Chi paintings in the room, and said with deep eyes, the digital code is 1248. Zhao Luowei's eyelids jumped wildly, and his heart was completely shrouded in terror. How did Ning Cheng guess it? How can that be? You can tell by the look on your face, and now I've guessed it again. You believe in Taoism in your heart. Taoist Taiji produces 2 rituals, 2 rituals create 4 images, and 4 images perform gossip. 1, 2, 4, and 8 correspond to the 4 special numbers of Taoism. Ning Cheng smiled calmly, looked at the layout around the room, and sighed. But it's outrageous that you put a Tai Chi picture in a room decorated in such a Western European style. I like Taoist culture, at least it's better to decorate with antiques. Your belief is too impious. Zhao Luowei's brain was buzzing. She was shaky and almost fainted. Zhao Luowei didn't listen to what Ning Cheng said later. Just noticed the word, expression. Expression. Zhao Luowei's face froze. All the temptations that Ning Cheng did just now were to observe the changes in her expression. Find out her heart from her expression. After understanding the answer, Zhao Luowei's face suddenly trembled, gradually becoming twisted and hideous. What? Zhao Luowei roared, suddenly got up from her seat, and kicked Ning Cheng with a judo kick. But, talk about physical strength. Ning Cheng is undoubtedly stronger, and almost at the same time, he also hit back with a heavy whip leg. Bang! Ning Cheng swept Zhao Luowei with his whip, causing the latter to fly a few meters away and hit the wall as if he was hit by a cannonball. A trace of blood overflowed from the corner of Zhao Luowei's mouth. It can be seen that Ning Cheng is completely rude. Zhao Luowei propped up her body with both hands, her eyes returned to clarity, and she no longer had the anger just now. But it was Zhao Luowei's eyes that were about to overflow with fear. This man in front of me really is the devil, can control and guess her mind. In front of him, Zhao Luowei felt that she had no secrets and no sense of security. Everything that has been experienced today has become a lingering shadow for Zhao Luowei throughout her life. She hugged her knees with both hands, and her body gradually curled up, squatting with her head down, not wanting to see Ning Cheng's face again. Ning Cheng has called Zhou Ziyan. Team Zhou, I have got the secret of the ledger. What? Zhou Ziyan said in surprise. You succeed, and it's just one night. Zhao Luowei is not a murderous drug criminal, so there is no difficulty. Ning Cheng shook his head. Send someone here first and take Zhao Luowei back to the police station, she has been subdued by me. Send another team to go to the CITIC Commercial Bank next to Mingyu Community in Zhongcheng High Tech Zone to negotiate with the bank staff and get the package where Zhao Luowei is stored. If there is no accident, where will there be a password safe? The password is 1248. Zhou Ziyan was stunned. Ning Cheng, why do you know that the ledger is hidden in such detail? Zhao Luowei is not a woman to provoke, she will tell you so easily. Did you do something to Zhao Luowei and put her to bed? Ning Cheng has a black line. Team Zhou jokes with me again, I can reserve the right to sue for defamation. You want to know what I did to Zhao Luowei, why don't you come and see what I did to her illegally? Compared with the location of the ledger, Zhou Ziyan still wants to know what Ning Cheng did to Zhou Ziyan. Did something bad really happen between them? That's why Ning Cheng can easily get the ledger. Anyway, knowing the location of the ledger now, Zhou Ziyan immediately arranged for a team member to go to the bank to get the ledger, and she came to Zhao Luowei's Guanlin villa. As soon as she entered the room, Zhou Ziyan was stunned. She found that the female criminal leader Zhao Luowei was squatting in the corner with her head buried in her knees, shivering. Ning Cheng, what's the situation? You still haven't done anything to Zhao Luowei. I did, but I didn't do those illegal things. I know how to deal with crimes. Really? Zhou Ziyan glanced at the neat sheets beside the bed, slightly relieved and regained her calm. Is there still a fake? If you don't believe me, take Zhao Luowei back to the police station for interrogation. As long as I violate the law and discipline, I will accept it. Looking at Ning Cheng's solemn appearance, Zhou Ziyan completely believed it. Out of personal emotions, she couldn't tolerate what happened to Ning Cheng and Zhao Luowei. As a professional police officer, Zhou Ziyan doesn't want Ning Cheng to be confused on this issue, otherwise it will become an obstacle to Ning Cheng's promotion. Zhou Ziyan asked curiously, then how did you get the location of the ledger? I asked, what's the matter? Take Zhao Luowei back to the police station for interrogation. Ning Cheng didn't want to explain more about the micro-expression analysis. That approach is too terrifying. Reading minds through micro-expressions makes it difficult for individuals to accept secrets being spied on. Especially when something happens to your head, it makes people feel more panic. It is good. Zhou Ziyan didn't ask much, and brought Zhao Luowei back to the police station. At the same time, there was news from the bank that the team members actually got the ledger. Regarding the case of sibutramine contraband, it can be announced that the net will be closed. Ning Cheng. When Zhao Luowei was taken away, she suddenly stopped and turned to look at Ning Cheng. You are really the devil, and I will never forget you. Ning Cheng stared into Zhao Luowei's eyes, and was surprised to find that there was no hatred. But it seems to want to deeply remember his appearance. What did you do to Zhao Luowei to make her remember so deeply? She seems a little scared. Zhou Ziyan asked curiously. If you want to know, just ask her. Ning Cheng asked. Now that Zhao Luowei has been arrested, what about Yang Zhaoming, who is in charge of the manufacture of sibutramine? In the case of sibutramine, Zhao Luowei was responsible for the sale of sibutramine, and used the company to connect with internet experts and bloggers for consignment sales. The source of sibutramine was manufactured by Yang Zhaoming. This person is also staying in Zhongcheng, and it is a native of Zhongcheng. After we got the ledger, we immediately notified Wang Bureau to let him close the net and arrest Yang Zhaoming. Zhou Ziyan said. Yang Zhaoming's line is in charge of Zhou Zi and several captains. Now the plan should be successful. But at this moment, Zhou Ziyan's phone suddenly rang. After listening to it, I realized that Zhou Zi and other captains had failed in their arrest plan for Yang Zhaoming. How could this be? Zhou Ziyan asked in surprise. That guy has a tunnel at home, and when we rushed over, he had already run away. Zhou Zi sighed in his mobile phone. Is Ning Cheng by your side? I want to communicate with him. Ning Cheng took Zhou Ziyan's phone. Team Zhou, what's the matter with me? I want to ask you to come and help us hunt down Yang Zhaoming. I don't know if it's feasible or not. If you don't want to, it doesn't matter. Send me Yang Zhaoming's route, and I will join the team. Ning Cheng didn't hesitate and came down. Looking at the road map sent by Josie, Ning Cheng frowned slightly. During the route, it is necessary to pass through the center of Zhongcheng City. At this point in time, it is almost impossible to drive a car when the flow of people and traffic is at its highest. But it just happened. Ning Cheng's locomotive is parked just outside Guanlin Villa. According to the speed of the Kawasaki locomotive, the speed is no less than that of a sports car, and there is a great hope of catching up with Yang Jiaoming. Are you going to chase Yang Jiaoming? Zhou Ziyan heard the conversation between Ning Cheng and Zhou Zi. Yes, Yang Jiaoming has run away, we can't let him go. Ning Cheng handed over the phone to Zhou Ziyan and said, Yang Jiaoming manufactures the contraband drug sibutramine. This scourge must be eradicated. To eradicate is to eradicate, how do you go after it? Zhou Ziyan remembered the original scene where Ning Cheng drove a police car to chase down drug criminal Gao Tianlong, and said curiously, do you want to drive the car again? Take me with you. Why bring you with me? I want to experience the feeling of extreme speed, it should be very exciting. Zhou Ziyan was eager to try. Ning Cheng, sorry, I can't take it, this time is different. The escape route for Yang Jiaoming that Zhou Zi gave me is going through the city center, and driving a car will not work at all. Then how do you chase him? There is my locomotive Kawasaki outside, you can chase it. Which Kawasaki H2R? Zhou Ziyan is not a novice who doesn't understand cars, she knows exactly what brand of motorcycle Ning Cheng drives. The locomotive of Ning Cheng is a Kawasaki H2R, which is a very professional heavy locomotive. Once the speed is up, it can reach 400 km/h, which is faster than a sports car. Can you catch up? Ning Cheng thought about his world-class locomotive driving experience and said, no big problem. Then take me. Why should I take you? Whether or not you exist will not help in the arrest of Yang Jiaoming. Ning Cheng said directly. Zhou Ziyan said, although I am not helpful to arrest Yang Jiaoming, I am helpful to you. What do you mean? Ning Cheng chuckled. I didn't see the effect on me. I can supervise you and correct you if you drive dangerously. Zhou Ziyan said rudely, if you still crash like last time, I will definitely stop you. I also don't allow excellent police officers to use their lives to hunt down murderers. This statement is the same in front of Zhou Zi, otherwise I won't let you leave easily. Okay, come on up. Ning Cheng thought about it, and let Zhou Ziyan get in the car. There is not much time to waste now. Boom, with the roar of the four-cylinder engine like a beast. Kawasaki H2R shoots out of the barrel like a bullet, breaking through the night. Soon, Ning Cheng was driving the Kawasaki when he encountered traffic. On the overpass, more than a dozen cars in front were advancing in parallel. And Ning Cheng didn't slow down at all. You are about to collide with a car in front of you. The driver in the car shivered. Extremely panicked. What the hell, a motorcycle dares to overtake. The surrounding drivers smiled disdainfully, looking forward to the collision between the motorcycle and the car in front. But, just in the next moment, the center of gravity of Ning Cheng's body is shifted to the left. Kawasaki is a flick. Type S. Go left immediately. Flexible like a snake. Directly in the gap between the two cars in front, it quickly passed by. The speed is undiminished. Kawasaki is far away from the cars on both sides, and the distance from the collision only less than 10 cm. All go, what kind of ferry car skill is that? You can pass through such a small gap, this motorcycle is going to heaven. A young man in a yellow roadster on the side of the road couldn't help exclaiming. The two passers-by and the driver can hardly close their jaws. That motorcycle just now is really powerful. It's not just that it didn't hit the sedan in front. And it also penetrated between the two cars. The driving skills are incredible. But, the motorcycle was in the center of the dense traffic, and the speed was so fast that it was obviously overspeeding. Many enthusiastic drivers have called the police. Hey, is it the traffic police center? I want to report it. Diaresis. There is a black motorcycle on Chunjing Avenue. Don't speed, it is very fast, seriously endangering public road safety. What is the speed of the car? The speed limit is 60, that motorcycle has reached at least 90 yards, and it is about to catch up with the high speed. Ning Cheng did not hear the whistle-blowing calls from the masses and was still accelerating. Behind her, Zhou Ziyan felt the scenery on both sides of the road regress quickly, her mouth opened slightly. Too fast. It's too fast. Ning Cheng's speed reached at least 100 yards. However, Zhou Ziyan did not interfere with Ning Cheng's thoughts. Just like Ning Cheng made a series of thrilling moves just now, Zhou Ziyan didn't stop it. Since she chose to ride in this car, Zhou Ziyan rested assured on Ning Cheng's driving skills and decided to entrust her life. Her existence, as Zhou Ziyan said just now, is to supervise Ning Cheng's actions like a car crash. Downtown street. Soon, Ning Cheng arrived here. Downtown streets are denser and more dangerous. But Ning Cheng's speed is undiminished. The roar of the four-cylinder engine blew up the street. Countless vehicles and drivers followed the sound. Noticed Ning Cheng. What an immortal riding skill. How dare a motorcycle ride so fast on this kind of street? Oh my god, did you see that? The 3 or 4 cars in front of you didn't block the motorcycle. That's just amazing. I'm convinced. I'm really convinced. Driving so smart, with a girl behind me, young people really know how to play. The driver and passers-by on both sides of the roadside picked up their mobile phones and pointed them at Ning Cheng's motorcycle to record the moment. At the same time, Shen Xinyi in the Maserati widened her eyes, watching the locomotive speeding past her. The man driving the locomotive just now, in terms of body shape and clothes, why does he look like Ning Cheng? The moment Ning Cheng rescued herself from Zhao Tianfang was a scene that Shen Xinyi will never forget in her life. Uncle Li, help me catch up with that motorcycle. Shen Xinyi hurriedly urged her driver to catch up with the motorcycle in front, and picked up her mobile phone to shoot at Ning Cheng. In the dark night, Ning Cheng galloped through the air, like a flash of lightning electricity. There is a lot less traffic on the road behind in the traffic flow through the city center. At this time, Ning Cheng was thinking about Yang Jiaoming's escape route. According to the route diagram sent by Zhou Zi, Yang Jiaoming was driving in the direction of the expressway. However, there are countless forks on the Zhongcheng Expressway. Where will Yang Jiaoming choose to go? And many more. Zhongcheng Expressway also leads to Zhongcheng Zhongbei Airport. Will Yang Jiaoming take the plane directly and go abroad directly? This is not impossible. Just like Zhao Luowei, her nationality is not domestic. Yang Jiaoming is likely to be the same. So when they encounter problems, they may choose the same solution. Go abroad. Ning Cheng was sure that Yang Jiaoming would choose this, and immediately adjusted his direction and galloped towards Zhongbei Airport. But at this time, behind Ning Cheng, several police cars with sirens screaming and red lights chased after him. The motorcycle in front has stopped. You have seriously exceeded the speed and violated public safety. We warn you, stop immediately, or we will take measures. In the police car, there are uniformed police officers shouting with horns. Would you like to stop and negotiate and tell them our mission? At this time, Zhou Ziyan signaled. No, we can't waste a minute and a second in pursuit. Although it's not a department, they will understand us afterwards. Ning Cheng vetoed. Go to Zhongbei Airport, time is running out now. If Yang Jiaoming escaped, everything would be too late. Quote. The voice fell. The 4-cylinder engine roared. Kawasaki locomotives are galloping on the highway, and the speed can really show the terrifying side. Boom. 120 km per hour. 150 km per hour. 180 km per hour. 200 km per hour. ... 250 km per hour. 300 km per hour. The speed is getting faster and faster. Ning Cheng drives the locomotive. Although it has not reached the maximum 400 km per hour of the Kawasaki H2R, it is getting closer and closer to the peak speed. Sitting on the locomotive, Zhou Ziyan felt that she was about to fly. This kind of high speed not only throws the police car behind her far away, but also makes her realize what it means to be exciting. At the extreme speed, the adrenaline is soaring. At the same time, the danger is extremely high. As long as Ning Cheng makes mistakes, the two may enter the underworld. However, Zhou Ziyan was very relieved of Ning Cheng's driving skills and was not worried at all. Last time, Ning Cheng even came over the thrilling National Highway 341. It's just an ordinary straight high speed. What will happen? Shortly after, Ning Cheng arrived at Zhongbei Airport. Looking at the flashing lights and signs at the airport, Zhou Ziyan reminded aloud. I see. Ning Cheng reduced the speed of the car, stopped the car when he arrived at the airport, and immediately called Zhou Zi. Have you caught up with Yang Jiaoming? Zhou Zechang sighed. No, we've been tricked, we didn't catch Yang Jiaoming. Ning Cheng asked. Diaresis, what's going on? We have been following Yang Jiaoming's car on the highway. Unexpectedly, after chasing and stopping the car, we found that only Yang Jiaoming's driver was in the car. Zhou Zi said. According to the driver's words, Yang Jiaoming gave him 100,000 yuan, and let him run hard on the high speed to attract our attention. We fell for Yang Jiaoming's strategy and are now rushing to Zhongbei Airport. According to our verification, Yang Jiaoming has a dual nationality passport, and according to the investigation of another group of teammates, Yang Jiaoming leased a plane from a foreign airline in advance, and now he may fly abroad at any time. Ning Cheng, if possible, please rush to Zhongbei Airport immediately and intercept Yang Jiaoming. I'm already at Zhongbei Airport, Ning Cheng said lightly. What? Zhou Zi and several team members in the car were all stunned. Ning Cheng was able to predict Yang Jiaoming's purpose in advance. Horrible, Zhou Zi ecstatically said. Ning Cheng, it would be better if you were at Zhongbei Airport. I will tell you the flight number of Yang Jiaoming's flight, and you tell the airport to intercept the plane. No need. Ning Cheng shook his head and looked at the man who just got off the black Mercedes-Benz in the Zhongbei Airport terminal. Although the man had a beard glued to his face, a lowered hat and black glasses. But Ning Cheng could tell at a glance that the man was Yang Jiaoming. Ning Cheng had seen the criminal map controlled by the police. Yang Jiaoming's appearance has been deeply recorded. Why not? Zhou Zi said eagerly on the phone. Right now, we still have a chance to intercept Yang Jiaoming within the country. If Yang Jiaoming gets on the plane, it will be too late. Ning Cheng, if you don't intercept it, did you ask the person in charge of the airport that Yang Jiaoming has already boarded the plane and escaped? Zhou Zi knew that Ning Cheng was a very responsible person and would not stop chasing down criminals. Ning Cheng said no, it was likely that Yang Jiaoming had already boarded the plane he rented. Once you get on the plane, you can't intercept Yang Jiaoming. While listening to Zhou Zi's words, Ning Cheng came to Yang Jiaoming's side, showed his handcuffs, and handcuffed him without saying a word. Over the phone, Zhou Zi lowered his head and said, Ning Cheng, has Yang Jiaoming escaped? Just say it. Ning Cheng smiled. Without hanging Zhou Zi's appetite, he said directly. No, Yang Jiaoming is in my hands now, I have handcuffed him, and successfully intercepted him within the country. What? In the police car on the highway, Zhou Zi and others were all stunned. Oh my God, you are still fierce. Ning Cheng, I love you so much. If that old boy Yang Jiaoming runs away, I'd like to die. Zhou Zi and others burst into exclamations of ecstasy, and they did not hesitate to praise Ning Cheng. Team Zhou, I don't fencing. Go go go, tell you the seriousness. Zhou Zi wondered. We obviously chased Yang Jiaoming first, how could you be so quick to catch Yang Jiaoming? You are the car god of National Highway 341. In the dense traffic in the city center, you can't use your magic skills, right? Of course a four-wheeled vehicle won't work, so I changed it. Ning Cheng couldn't help laughing. What kind of car can it be faster than a motorized police car? Motorcycle. Ning Cheng just said it out. Outside the airport terminal, more than a dozen traffic police cars with flashing sirens rushed to the door. A group of traffic police came out of the police car, and they surrounded Ning Cheng. Outside the airport terminal, a group of traffic police got out of a dozen police cars and surrounded Ning Cheng. Catch, don't let him go, let's see where this kid is going to escape. The headed traffic police captain glanced at Zhou Zian. Take this girl back too, both of them are driving dangerously. Wait, this brother. Zhou Zian smiled slightly and showed them the police certificate. Comrade traffic police, we just didn't do it on purpose. The incident happened suddenly, and we were carrying out a very urgent task. There was no way. Zhou Zian showed her credentials. Things are perfectly fine. A group of people immediately softened their attitude and smiled at Zhou Zian. I didn't expect that they were all friends. Are you arresting the murderer? Yes, Ning Cheng, are you sure this is Yang Jiaoming? Zhou Zian asked. What do you think? Ning Cheng directly took off Yang Jiaoming's beard, sunglasses and hat, revealing his original appearance. It sure is him. Zhou Zian smiled slightly and continued to explain to the traffic police. After a while, Zhou Zi and others drove over. Ha ha ha, I really caught Yang Jiaoming. See where you old guy escaped, how dare you play tricks? Is it true that we were not vigilant in 207? Zhou Zi yelled at Yang Jiaoming. If he wasn't worried about breaking the law, he would probably want to give him a kick at this time. Yang Jiaoming looked annoyed, already thinking of his own fate, and his face was sullen. Old Zhou, you are actually leading the team. The traffic police captain looked at Zhou Zi and was overjoyed. Old Tian, it's you, why are you here? Unexpectedly, the traffic police captain and Zhou Zi are old friends. Soon, the danger of Ning Cheng and Zhou Zian driving dangerously disappeared. Ning Cheng is a strong player in our team, even better than me. It's also my responsibility to drive a vehicle to hunt down the suspect. You can't memorize your name. How can this happen? The mission will definitely be handled specially. We all know the situation. Thank you, let's have a good drink in the future. The dangerous driving situation subsided. Ning Cheng, Zhou Zi, and Zhou Zian brought Yang Jiaoming back to the police station, and together with Zhao Luowei, the interrogation took place overnight. Within the next few days, the upstream and downstream ecological chain regarding the manufacture and sale of sibutramine contraband has been completely terminated. Zhongcheng's big fish and small fish were all arrested, but none of them were spared. There are as many as 200 people involved in the case, and nearly 90 million yuan of funds have been seized. In this operation, the personnel who participated in the detection of cases and the work of arresting murderers collectively obtained third-class merit. Those who have made outstanding contributions to the case will be awarded the second-class collective merit. Because Ning Cheng obtained the most important account book and tracked down the suspect Yang Jiaoming, Wang Donglai of the Wang Bureau specially applied for first-class merit. According to Wang Donglai, Ning Cheng has great hope of getting first class. The results will be available soon, so Ning Cheng don't worry. Ning Cheng wasn't in a hurry, he certainly paid attention to the first-class honor. But he paid more attention to the truth of the case and caught the murderer to maintain public order and stability. At the same time, the video of Ning Cheng driving the locomotive that day went viral on the internet. When they saw Ning Cheng driving the motorcycle with speed and style, countless motorcycle riders went crazy for it. Oh my god, the rider in the video is so handsome, and his driving skills are so strong that he can penetrate such a narrow route. In the center of dense traffic, the visual speed is at least 90 yards, and the rider is a god. Zhongcheng, it's Zhongcheng again, there is the 341 National Road God in the front, and the Kawasaki motorcycle God in the back. Zhongcheng is really talented. Am I the only one who thinks that driving at such a high speed in the center of dense traffic completely endangers public safety? I also think this rider is irresponsible, endangers public safety, and violates the law. The Zhongcheng traffic police should arrest him instead of doing nothing. In the comments, many netizens admired Ning Cheng's driving skills. More netizens feel that they do not understand. Driving a motorcycle over the speed limit is completely irresponsible to oneself and others. CDBC has seriously endangered public safety. So there are many people who manually at Zhongsheng traffic official account. Off-screen, Shen Xinyi is looking forward to the reply from the official account of Zhongcheng Transportation. A few days ago, she asked her driver to track down the locomotive that was suspected to be Ning Cheng, but unfortunately she didn't catch it in the end. However, Shen Xinyi still suspected that the person was Ning Cheng who had rescued her. If the rider is Ning Cheng, he must be on a mission, and Zhongcheng traffic officials will come forward to explain. Sure enough, not long after, Zhongcheng's official account came forward to explain, and issued a statement to the netizens who questioned. The rider on the hot search video, whose real identity is a policeman, was in pursuit of the suspect Yang Jiaoming, please forgive me. In addition, according to the editor's knowledge, the 341 National Road God and this rider are actually the same policeman. This statement was issued, and various netizens expressed their understanding. After all, if the police perform tasks, if it is not a very important task, they will never do it like in the video. A little careless, the policeman could fall into a serious injury. It can make countless netizens care and be curious. Back then, the 341 National Road cyclist was the same person as today's Kawasaki cyclist. Although the driving skills are the same. However, the experience of driving motor vehicles and locomotives, it is very difficult to practice to the top level. Ordinary people can already be called masters if they master one piece. To be able to master two such high-level driving skills, it is no exaggeration to say that it is a genius. This statement has aroused the curiosity of countless netizens, and they have begun to ask who is the official 341 National Road Car God. Request to be released. Immediately, the official editor deleted the following paragraph to avoid more discussion. But netizens are quick-witted, and many have taken screenshots. The official deletion of this move has the effect of fueling the flames, and it has aroused the curiosity of netizens, who are all speculating on the identity of the Kawasaki Car God and the 341 National Road Car God. Shen Xinyi opened her lips slightly, and an incredible expression appeared on her face. It's just that the Kawasaki rider is Ning Cheng, the car god of Zhongcheng 341 National Road, who made a sensation on the internet and even spread to the internet, turned out to be Ning Cheng. As expected of the person I like, he has mastered such strong driving skills. Shen Xinyi hummed softly, full of coquettish taste. I want Ning Cheng to take me for a ride in the future, and have a good experience of his driving skills. Is it better to choose a motor vehicle or a locomotive? Shen Xinyi was looking forward to it, hesitating whether to send an invitation to Ning Cheng. At this moment, Ning Cheng has no leisurely elegance. Because the city bureau issued an important document about a very important case. According to the news from this station, a report is urgently inserted now. There was a murder case in Nanlian Town, Zhongcheng City. The deceased, Wang Shuzhen, aged 38, was accidentally killed when she was returning home at 10 o'clock last night. The sanitation workers found the body of the deceased Wang Shuzhen this morning. According to the police forensic investigation, the deceased Wang Shuzhen's heart was taken away, leaving a cross pattern on her arm, which is similar to the murder case of the scalpel demon 5 years ago. Quote, once again, I warn the residents of this city to increase their awareness of self-prevention, especially women, and be vigilant about unfamiliar men. Zhongcheng TV host broadcast such a news. In an instant, the residents of the entire Zhongcheng city fell into a state of panic. At the same time, on Zhongcheng's local forums, Postbar and other platforms, countless netizens have been discussing the scalpel demon. This is almost a memory that the people of Zhongcheng are unwilling to look back on. Inside the police station, Ning Cheng and the rest of the Interpol team watched the news on the screen. Not long after the news was broadcast, many police officers were also discussing in a low voice. Scalpel demon, is this guy back in the arena again? At that time, this guy caused panic among the people in the entire Zhongcheng city. He appeared again, and we must catch him. Back then, the criminal investigation technology was not as developed as it is now. This time, as long as he appears, we will definitely be able to catch him. Colleagues around him were discussing in a low voice, while Ning Cheng calmly looked at the file of the scalpel demon. Ning Cheng is no stranger to scalpel demons. This is a very scary criminal. It once became synonymous with the night cry of children in Zhejiang City. As long as any child in Zhongcheng is naughty, and the parents say the name of the scalpel demon, the child will not dare to cry anymore. While at the police academy, Ning Cheng also learned about the case of the scalpel demon. It was 5 years ago when the scalpel demon committed his first murder in Zhongcheng. At that time, the Zhongcheng police received a report at night, saying that there was a young woman's body at the door of the bar at night. When police arrived at the scene, they found that the heart had been removed from the deceased woman's body in a professional manner, and a cross was left on the skin of her wrist. At that time, the police found that the wound on the deceased's heart was extremely professional, as if a professional cardiologist did, and immediately investigated the cardiac surgeons in Zhongcheng City. But in the end nothing. The case seems to be silent now. But after a month, the police received another report from the informant and found a female body on the mountain. The woman was a middle-aged woman. The corpse was the same as that of the original female deceased. She was cut into the neck and carotid artery with a professional sharp tool such as a scalpel and died of excessive bleeding. The heart is then removed, and a special scalpel-killing demon cross is left on his wrist. This time, the Zhongcheng police mobilized a large number of police forces. Search for the scalpel killer demon. But the end result is still nothing. In the following time, there was no trace of the scalpel demon for more than half a year, just when everyone thought he disappeared. The body of an elderly woman was found on the outskirts of Zhangcheng. Her method of death was also to cut her neck, take out her heart, and leave a special cross on her wrist. 3 consecutive cases have occurred, and the influence of the murder case of the scalpel demon has spread to the whole country. Not only the Zhangcheng City Bureau, but also the Provincial Party Committee were outraged and dispatched elites from various police circles to investigate. But in the end it didn't work. The scalpel murderer at the back seemed to think that the case had too much influence, so he never committed the crime again. He seemed to have evaporated from the world, and could not find any trace of him. Now committing the crime again 5 years later. No matter what, the Zhangcheng Bureau did not plan to let him go again. The scalpel demon murder case was personally presided over by director Zhang Chao. He stood on the stage and said, "You also watched the news from Zhangcheng TV just now. There was a murder in Nanlian town, Zhangcheng. The deceased, Wang Shuzhen, now 38 years old, was found to have had her throat cut to death, her heart was taken out, and a special symbol of a scalpel demon was left on her wrist. After the Nanlian town police judged, it may be the scalpel demon who committed the crime again." Quote. In the conference room, various groups of criminal investigation policemen showed indignation. 5 years ago, when the scalpel murdered demons and committed crimes, there were no witnesses, surveillance, and the crime was quite cruel. Zhang Chao slapped the table and said angrily, "If you couldn't catch that fool back then, that doesn't mean you can't catch it now." The news of the scalpel demon's crime has aroused great attention from the Municipal Bureau and the Provincial Party Committee. We have decided to arrest him this time, no matter what the cost. It seems that the scalpel demon has appeared again. We will never let him go again for his murder this time. The area under the jurisdiction of Nanlian Town, Zhangcheng City, has insufficient police force and scarce talents. They made a request to the Municipal Bureau for support, so the Municipal Bureau intends to arrange for the police elites to go to Nanlian Town to investigate and solve the case. Our police station will also send a support team to help solve the case. As for the volunteer team, I have already drawn up the list: Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu, Tang Xin, Ning Cheng, Chen Kai, Wang Jin. When Zhang Chao was reading the list of support groups, there was a small voice of discussion below, and many eyes were on Ning Cheng's body. No one would have thought that Ning Cheng would also be on the list. It stands to reason that this kind of extraordinarily large case is visited by experienced old detectives. Ning Cheng's qualifications are simply not enough. But in terms of ability, Ning Cheng is beyond reproach. The sibutramine contraband case not long ago is the main credit of Ning Cheng. Even Zhou Ziyan, who has always had the highest detection rate in the police station, is not as good as her. Zhou Ziyan, Ning Cheng, do you have any problems? Zhang Chao looked at Zhou Ziyan, Ning Cheng and the others. Zhou Ziyan and Ning Cheng both shook their heads. Whether it is out of merit and glory, or out of harm for the people, the murderer, the scalpel demon, must be eradicated. That's good, Zhou Ziyan, you are the team leader, Ning Cheng's vice captain, and the others are team members. Zhang Chao's words made the conference room discuss again. Good guy, it's only been so long since Ning Cheng was the vice captain. Are you afraid that you will lead the team independently in the future? Many old detectives cast envious glances at Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng smiled slightly, a group of cool hearts. There are many cases solved, the ability is displayed, and the status naturally rises rapidly. At this time, the system prompt sounded in Ning Cheng's mind. Congratulations to the host for detecting the sale of sibutramine contraband, you can get the following rewards. Reward 1. World-class dynamic human eye observation experience. Reward 2. The future trend of U.S. stocks for a week. World-class dynamic human eye observation. What's the use of this? After reading the explanation of the prompts on the back of the system panel, Ning Cheng realized that this skill is used to quickly identify information, and it is a very practical skill. Now, whether it is fancy skills or professional practical skills, Ning Cheng has accumulated quite a lot. Even he doesn't know when it will work. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, the police station supported the Nanlian Town case-solving team, and Ning Cheng and Zhou Ziyan got into the police car. In the team, Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu, and Tang Xin were all girls, and the other half, including Ning Cheng, were all boys. Flowers. The gender distribution is reasonable. But as soon as they got in the car, Zhou Ziyan and Mu Xiaoyu fell on Ning Cheng. The atmosphere is a little awkward. Mr. Ning Cheng, we met again. Do you have any ideas for this time the scalpel demon murder case? As a female forensic doctor, Tang Xin is a girl who is very focused on the case. As soon as she came up, she asked Ning Cheng. What do you think? Ning Cheng replied with a smile. The scalpel murderer is holding a scalpel, and you are also holding a scalpel. You should have an idea. Of course there are ideas, but how can you compare with Ning Cheng? Tang Xin smiled. I've seen the file. The wound that the scalpel murder demon took out of the heart is very smooth. I'm guessing that the devil looks like a professional surgeon, or someone trained in surgical medicine. Quote. Zhou Ziyan shook her head and said, don't just limit your thinking to surgeons, or people with a medical background. If it's just that simple, in the 3 cases that year, the city bureau dispatched so many police forces, it must be able to find clues to the scalpel murderer. That's right, my thinking is indeed limited. Ning Cheng, what do you think? Zhou Ziyan looked at Ning Cheng and asked. 0. At this moment, everyone in the car turned their attention to Ning Cheng. The case of sibutramine has just been solved, and Ning Cheng has played a major role in it, and his strength is no less than that of Zhou Ziyan, other old captains. What Ning Cheng said must be quite important. Ning Cheng thought about the guess in his mind, shook his head and said, first go to the Nanlian town crime scene to see, and then characterize the case. An hour later, Zhou Ziyan, Ning Cheng and others came to the police station in Nanlian town, Zhongcheng. The leaders of the police station attached great importance to them and came to respond one after another. After some courtesy, Zhou Ziyan said directly, Chen Bureau, we came here for the scalpel demon case, can you take us to see the crime scene of the deceased Wang Shuzhen? Definitely no problem. The Chen Bureau nodded again and apologized, but there are still police officers from the city bureau to support me. I still have to receive them, so I'll let others show you. Do you think this will work? No problem. Then the Nanlian town police station sent people to bring Zhou Ziyan, Ning Cheng and others to the scene of the crime. The crime scene is behind a bar in the heart of town. It's an abandoned construction site with no surveillance, so it's perfect for an autopsy. At the scene of the crime, there was still a bloody smell on the ground. Zhou Ziyan and others carefully checked the crime scene, trying to determine whether there were any remaining clues. Ning Cheng didn't go to investigate. There have been several waves of police elites from the city bureau. If clues could be found at the scene, they would have found them long ago. At present, it is still the most reliable file information given by the Nanlian Township Police Department. I still haven't found any clues. After investigating and finding nothing, Mu Xiaoyu couldn't help sighing. Zhou Ziyan looked at Ning Cheng standing, relaxedly, and the corner of her mouth twitched. Ning Cheng, are you so comfortable? Single quote. Where am I at ease? I just don't think I can find clues. Ning Cheng smiled lightly. If we can find clues, the previous waves of experienced detectives have already found them, not to mention they can't be found at all. Then you don't look for it, what if? Zhou Ziyan said unconvinced. I never gamble on the odds. I only believe in the judgment of facts. This case is not a case committed by a scalpel murderer. What? Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu and others were shocked. Nanlian Township police officers were also dumbfounded. This is not the case of the scalpel demon murder. Ding. Ning Cheng, what do you mean? Zhou Ziyan wondered. Where did you come from that this is not a case committed by a scalpel demon? Single quote. Ning Cheng said, it's very simple, Team Zhou can find the difference as long as you carefully read the dossier information given by the Nanlian Township Police Station. What do you mean? I don't understand. Zhou Ziyan said directly. Our city bureau gave us the dossier information about the previous scalpel killer, and the 3 women he killed. Ning Cheng explained calmly. The city bureau's data shows that the scalpel murderer's treatment of the deceased is completely temporary, killing indiscriminately. Among the 3 victims, they were young girls, middle-aged women, and elderly women. They had fatal throat cuts, heart scars on their chests, and a crossed knife symbol on their wrists. And the dossier of Wang Shuzhen given to us by the Nanlian Township Police Station is different from the previous victims. Zhou Ziyan took over Ning Cheng's file and asked, what's the difference? In the file, there is a cross symbol on the wrist of the deceased Wang Shuzhen, which represents the symbol of the scalpel murderer. Ning Cheng thought about it for a while, then pondered. In the past, after the scalpel murderer killed people, they left a mark on the victim's left hand, and the mark was in the style of a cross knife. But in this case, the mark left by the deceased Wang Shuzhen's wrist is on her right hand. And that sign, if you look carefully, you will find that it is similar to a cross, not a cross knife like a murderer. Quote, "It's the subtle difference between the two. It can be seen that the murder case of Wang Shuzhen was the murderer who did not know the details of the murder case of the scalpel murderer. It was just a copycat crime." 27. According to Ning Cheng, Zhou Ziyan and others opened the dossier information handed over to them by the Nanlian Township Police Station. Then they used their mobile phones to call up the dossier information given by the city bureau to the real scalpel murderer. Really, compare the two. Immediately discovered the nuanced difference between the victim of the scalpel murder demon and the murder of Wang Shuzhen. There's a subtle difference in the logo on that wrist. In addition, the symbol of the cross knife of the scalpel killer is on the left hand of the victim. But in this case the sign is on the right hand. It seems that this is really a case of imitation murder. Zhou Ziyan sighed. Why is this happening? Single quote. The reason is very simple. In the case of Wang Shuzhen's murder, the murderer wanted to put the blame on the real scalpel murderer. Ning Cheng took a deep breath and his eyes flickered, but the murderer has no access to the details of the victim of the scalpel murderer. The data files of scalpel victims are strictly controlled by our police. The murderer could only get a rough idea of the victims of the scalpel killer through TV broadcasts or newspapers and other channels, and then imitate the crime. Quote, "You're right, probably so," Zhou Ziyan said. "If this is just a copycat crime, then it will be much less difficult to detect the case. The case of the scalpel murderer is difficult to detect. The biggest problem is that the scalpel devil kills randomly and indiscriminately. This Wang Shuzhen case is just imitation murder, and it is very likely that the murderer can be identified through the victim's social network. Since this is just an imitation case, let's start the investigation from the social relationship of the victim Wang Shuzhen." Zhou Ziyan made a proposal. Then Zhou Ziyan, Ning Cheng and others began to start with Wang Shuzhen's social relations. The victim Wang Shuzhen's social network is mainly in two aspects. On the one hand, as a work circle is a bar girl, and on the other hand, it belongs to Wang Shuzhen's family and friends circle. Zhou Ziyan and Ning Cheng are divided into two groups. Zhou Ziyan specially named Mu Xiaoyu's name, plus Chen Kai, and went to investigate Wang Shuzhen's work circle. Ning Cheng led Tang Xin and Wang Jin to Wang Shuzhen's house to visit the circle of family friends. Just as Ning Cheng left the crime scene, he ran into a team of elite old criminal police captains from the municipal bureau who came to investigate the crime scene. The man at the head of the team, Ning Cheng, met when the Wang Bureau organized a mobilization meeting for the sibutramine case. The two eyes crossed each other and passed each other. The old captain didn't show any special gesture to Ning Cheng, and Ning Cheng didn't mean to be in awe. The members of the team behind him were instantly dissatisfied. "Lu team, who was that kid just now, so young, doesn't seem to mean to take you seriously." Single quote. Does Ning Cheng know? The old captain smiled lightly. Not long ago, when the case of sibutramine was detected, it's normal for people to treat me flatly. You can achieve such a result. It is estimated that you are not looking at me, but you are not looking at me. Quote. Hiss. The player was secretly surprised and took a breath. The sibutramine case not only caused a sensation in the province, but also spread its influence to the whole country. The sibutramine case was mostly solved thanks to Ning Cheng. Now that they see Ning Cheng, they are all taken aback. So young, younger than them. The bearing is calm, the eight winds do not move, and there is no clue. Solve the case. Since you are not convinced by that Ning Cheng, then speak with your strength. The old captain smiled lightly. Don't let Ning Cheng be in the limelight, you are all young people, show some strength. ... Ning Cheng sighed. They have come to Wang Shuzhen's house. This is a slightly dilapidated old house, and the surrounding equipment is also very old. When Ning Cheng knocked on Wang Shuzhen's door, inside was a beautiful, youthful girl who opened the door for him. According to the information file of the deceased Wang Shuzhen given by the Nanlian Township Police Station, Wang Shuzhen is 38 years old this year. Because her husband is seriously ill, she is a bar girl, and there is a possibility that she will betray her looks. Wang Shuzhen and her husband gave birth to a daughter, Zhao Xiaoli, who is 16 years old this year and is currently a high school student in Nanlian Town No. 1 Middle School. The youthful and lovely girl in front of her is Wang Shuzhen's daughter Zhao Xiaoli. The moment the door was opened, Ning Cheng noticed that Zhao Xiaoli's eyes were flushed, and there were still some tears left. The death of her mother Wang Shuzhen was a big blow to her. "Are you the police?" Zhao Xiaoli asked in a trembling voice. "Yes." Ning Cheng showed his credentials and sighed. "Don't be too sad, we are here to solve your mother's murder." "Come in, thank you Uncle Policeman, I beg you all to help my mother catch the murderer." Zhao Xiaoli wiped her tears, which made Ning Cheng and the others feel a little disappointed. "Cough cough, Xiaoli, who is it, who are you talking to?" There was a gentle coughing sound from the room, accompanied by a strong smell of traditional Chinese medicine. "That's my dad, he's sick," Zhao Xiaoli explained to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng has learned through the archives that Wang Shuzhen's husband Zhao Kong suffered from a serious illness, and he has not been cured. He has been using traditional Chinese medicine to maintain his life. The main breadwinner of the family should be Wang Shuzhen working in a bar to make money. "Take us to see your dad and ask about the situation by the way." After Ning Cheng came to the room, he met Zhao Kong. Zhao Kong was lying on the bed, his face pale and ill, as if he was about to die at any time. Ning Cheng can feel it. The Zhao Kong in front of him was really weak and would not be a murderer at all. Through systematic crime analysis and evaluation, Zhao Kong and Zhao Xiaoli's crime value is not high, and they are not suspected of murder. "Officer, please help me catch the murderer, please." After knowing the identities of Ning Cheng and others, Zhao Kong was very emotional, and there were tears in his eyes. Even if he found out that there are some problems in his wife's occupation, as a husband, Zhao Kong's love for Wang Shuzhen has not diminished much. "Shuzhen, you have paid too much for me, for my family." Zhao Kong repented loudly. "If it wasn't for me, our family wouldn't be like this. Sometimes I get angry with her." As he spoke, Zhao Kong covered his face and cried. Ning Cheng understood the family and calmed the emotions of the two fathers and daughters before starting to work. "I hope to solve the case, help your wife, and help your mother catch the murderer, but you must answer my questions truthfully." Ning Cheng asked, "Does your mother Wang Shuzhen ever have any conflicts with others?" Zhao Kong and Zhao Xiaoli both shook their heads. "My mother is usually very kind to others, and she never blushes. Even if she has a conflict with others, she will take the initiative to back down." In her mouth, have you ever heard who hated her the most at work and socially, and had conflicts with her? Zhao Xiaoli said, "No, my mother has never quarreled with others. Because of the situation in my family, my mother did not dare to quarrel. She has always been very cautious and made people smile everywhere." The more she talked, the redder Zhao Xiaoli's eyes became, and tears gradually shed again. Tang Xin comforted him by his side, and Ning Cheng frowned slightly. Wang Shuzhen's character is very kind. In addition to her own reasons, she also does not dare to quarrel with others rashly because of her family's situation. This kind of character will hardly conflict with people. Who the hell would kill such a woman? After continuing to ask questions, Ning Cheng did not find any clues. "Very good, thank you for your answers." Ning Cheng nodded, walked out of the house, investigated and visited the surrounding neighbors, and asked them about their impression of Wang Shuzhen. "Ask the neighbors, they know very little about Wang Shuzhen's situation. All I know is that Wang Shuzhen is a very responsible wife and mother. She seldom has conflicts with others, and she doesn't deal with others very much. Her communication is very narrow. Boss Ning Cheng, there seems to be no suspicious suspects in the current situation." Tang Xin asked Ning Cheng. "There are really no suspicious suspects. Meet Zhouzian and see if there are any clues there." Ning Cheng took Tang Xin and Wang Jin out of the dilapidated community. But just drove to the gate of the community, but found Zhao Xiaoli's figure. "Wait, stop." Ning Cheng motioned Wang Jin, who was driving, to stop. Tang Xin also noticed the situation at the gate of the community, rolled down the car window and looked out. Wang Shuzhen's daughter, Zhao Xiaoli, who was crying like a pear blossom with rain, roared and lost her temper at a handsome young man beside her. "Chen Zhonkang, get out of here. I don't want to see you again, we just don't fit." "Xiaoli, don't cry, okay, my aunt died, I can understand your sadness, I can help you, we're good friends. The handsome young man begged bitterly. Ning Cheng got out of the car, handed Zhao Xiaoli a pack of tissues, and asked the boy with a smile. What's the matter with you, puppy love? The handsome young man looked anxious and sighed, I want to fall in love early, but... Let's go, Chen Zhonkang, I'm in a bad mood right now, I'm not in the mood to talk to you. Zhao Xiaoli stood up and stared coldly at the handsome boy. The young man from Chen Zhonkang opened his mouth and finally left with a sigh. Is he your classmate? Ning Cheng asked. Classmate? Why don't you like him, he's so handsome. Ning Cheng watched the teenager get into a Mercedes-Benz, the conditions at home should not be bad. Single quote. It turns out that he and I have some signs of it. Zhao Xiaoli wiped the tears from her eyes, but my mother didn't support it and wanted me to concentrate on my studies. I even got into trouble with my mother at that time. I'm so stupid, I can't now, I have to concentrate on my studies, get into a good university, and console my mother. The growth and transformation of boys and girls is often realized after experiencing major setbacks. Come on, Ning Cheng encouraged Zhao Xiaoli for a while, then left to join Zhou Ziyan. A group of people gathered in the cafe. Zhou Ziyan couldn't help but ask. Ning Cheng, have you found a clue? Are there any suspicious suspects? No, Ning Cheng shook his head. Wang Shuzhen has a good personality, basically does not conflict with others, and has no suspicious suspects. What about you? Me too, Zhou Zi 1.2 Yan sighed and said. Women in the bar have high evaluations of Wang Shuzhen, she thinks she is very kind, often willing to help them, and will not have any entanglement with them. Wang Shuzhen has no enemies, and has not heard customer feedback she is not good. Single quote. Now listening to your investigation, it seems that our results are the same, and there are no suspicious suspects. Could it be that this crime imitating the scalpel murderer is also a case of indiscriminate random murder? Ning Cheng said, maybe, maybe not. If it is, then the difficulty of solving the case will increase exponentially. Zhou Ziyan gritted her teeth and said, there are no witnesses around, and there are no suspicious pictures captured by surveillance. How can the case be solved now? Single quote. Ning Cheng touched his chin, lost in thought. Ning Cheng, what are you thinking, is there a way? Zhou Ziyan looked at Ning Cheng's thoughtful face and couldn't help asking for help. There is actually another way to solve the case. Ning Cheng let out a sigh of relief and said to himself. What method? There are no suspects now. There are no suspects, and the case itself can be started. What's the meaning? The meaning is very simple. Ning Cheng said. This case itself is a case of imitating a scalpel demon murder. Because the murderer has seen our police take the initiative to disclose the case of the scalpel murderer to the public, but the murderer does not know the details of the case, so there will be mistakes in imitation. Quote. The murderer wants to contact the situation of the scalpel demon murder case, and he can only obtain information through 3 channels. First, TV platform. Second, internet information. Third, newspapers. TV platform, internet information, newspapers. Zhou Ziyan and Mu Xiaoyu didn't understand much when they heard Ning Cheng's explanation. Quote, these 3 channels are the source of obtaining the scalpel demon murder case, but Ning Cheng, what do you mean? Quote, the murderer can be selected through the information received by the murderer from these 3 channels. Ning Cheng said. How is this possible? Zhou Ziyan suddenly stood up and looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. This is completely unrealistic. Do you know how many people live in Zhongcheng? 6 million. Finding the murderer in a population of 6 million is simply impossible. Ning Cheng took a sip of coffee, shook his head and said, as long as the method is right, nothing is impossible. The method is appropriate. Your method is to screen the murderers of Wang Shuzhen's case based on 3 channels, TV platforms, online information, and newspapers. Zhou Ziyan shook her head and sighed. This method is simply impossible. How do we know to filter through these 3 channels? Besides, Zhongcheng City has a permanent population of 6 million, so how do you know what channel the murderer has read? Quote. Although Mu Xiaoyu didn't believe what Ning Cheng said, she had strong confidence in Ning Cheng. Team Zhou, why don't you let Ning Cheng talk about it? Maybe you can screen out which criminal. Zhou Ziyan glanced at Ning Cheng, her eyes flickering uncertainly, still full of doubts. Actually, the screening is very simple. It is very rare to know the information of the scalpel crime murder case through the TV platform. Ning Cheng said, "The crime of killing the devil with a scalpel was 5 years ago, and now 5 years ago, it is very difficult for ordinary people to find TV news videos from 5 years ago. Just think about it, watching TV news yourself, it's hard to rebroadcast any news, let alone finding news broadcasts from 5 years ago." Zhou Ziyan couldn't help but agree with Ning Cheng's statement. As an ordinary person, 23 really can't find news replayed on TV platforms, let alone news from 5 years ago. The TV platform is excluded. There are also online platforms and newspapers. The audience of these two channels is not small. How do you filter? I checked on the way here, about the information on the scalpel crime murder case on the internet. Ning Cheng took out his mobile phone and showed it to Zhou Ziyan and others. "Look, I searched for scalpel demon murder case, and many other keywords, and came up with the result. The information on the scalpel demon murder case on the internet channel is lacking. The most important thing is that there is a lack of the most important picture information about the scalpel demon murder case on the internet. Have you noticed that in the case of the deceased Wang Shuzhen, the wound on her heart is very professional, very similar to the knife method used by the scalpel demon to remove the victim's heart? This is also the case where our forensic doctor misjudged Wang Shuzhen's case as a scalpel murderer. The reason for the crime. You can think about it again. Why is the murderer of Wang Shuzhen's case so clear about the method of removing the devil's heart with a scalpel? Through a lot of searches on the internet, we can only search for the outline of the murder case of the scalpel demon, but lack the vital picture information, that is, the method of the scalpel devil to kill and remove the heart. In other words, if the murderer wants to imitate the scalpel demon through the internet, it is very difficult to do." Suddenly, Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu and others suddenly became enlightened. "What do you mean? Neither the TV platform nor the internet channel is the source of information received by the murderer of Wang Shuzhen's case. At present, it is only through newspapers and periodicals." Zhou Ziyan nodded and said, "Ning Cheng, you want to find the murderer of this case through the audience of the newspapers that published the murder case of the scalpel demon, right? But Ning Cheng, have you ever thought that although the audience of newspapers and magazines is not as widely spread as TV and the internet, there are at least hundreds of thousands to hundreds of thousands of audiences? To find the murderer among these people is as difficult as finding a needle in a haystack. You said just now that Zhangcheng's permanent population is 6 million, and now it has shrunk from 6 million to more than 100,000. Isn't this a progress?" Ning Cheng smiled. "Actually, it is not difficult to screen out the murderer among the audience of newspapers and magazines." Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu and others all stared at Ning Cheng. In him, there is a quiet and steady force, optimistic and positive. It is easy to infect people. It was all thanks to Ning Cheng's wisdom that the case was able to advance to this point without any clues. In a population of 6 million, is it really possible to find the murderer? About Wang Shuzhen's case, we must first understand that this is a case of imitation murder. He murdered with a plan and purpose. Ning Cheng pondered for a moment, and said, "In such a case, the murderer will take the initiative to find cases that Zhang Cheng has not solved in the past. In the process of looking for this, the murderer accidentally found a murder case that fits his idea, the scalpel demon murder case. The process he found was mainly through the channel of newspapers to find the case. But think about it, the scalpel demon murder case was published in the newspaper 5 years ago. Even if ordinary people bought this newspaper, it would be difficult to preserve it. It can be said that there are very few places in Zhangcheng where you can find newspapers from 5 years ago. Then how did the murderer find this newspaper?" Zhou Ziyan said curiously. "I already understand what you mean. You mean that if you find the place where this newspaper is stored, you may find clues to the murderer. Where will the newspaper that published the murder case of the scalpel demon be there? Maybe I can provide some clues." Suddenly, Wang Jin, who was silent in the cafe, said, "Although I don't have the young aura like you, I have joined the police force for more than 10 years. When the scalpel demon murder case happened 5 years ago, I was sent to search the scalpel demon, but in the end I found nothing." Wang Jin was a middle-aged man in his mid-30s, with a lean face and a wealth of experience. "I remember a detail. When our Zhangcheng police investigation was fruitless, the Zhangcheng provincial newspaper published an article in the newspaper angrily scolding our police for incompetence, which made us lose face at the time. At that time, we bought newspapers, and the provincial newspapers seemed to have details of the murder case of the scalpel demon. Zhou Ziyan asked, "Where will the provincial newspaper from 5 years ago be kept now?" Wang Jin shook his head and said, "I don't know that either. Now I read newspapers less and less." Zhou Ziyan looked at Ning Cheng. "It seems that this screening method is correct, but where will that newspaper be?" "I don't know." Ning Cheng smiled in surprise and said, "But I think someone should know this very well." Ning Cheng picked up the phone and called Yi Wanzhou, a reporter from the provincial newspaper. "Officer Ning, why do you have time to call me? Do you want to invite me to dinner?" In the office, Yi Wanzhou looked at the incoming call alert in surprise, but did not expect that Ning Cheng would rarely call her. After the two separated, they never got in touch again. "Of course it's good to eat. I also want to invite reporter Yi to dinner, but can I trouble reporter Yi to help me check something?" Ning Cheng asked. "Officer Ning asks me for help with anything, and declare in advance that I won't solve the case. I want to know about newspapers. Can you help me find the newspaper in the provincial newspaper that published the case of the scalpel demon murder? The provincial report on the scalpel demon murder case 5 years ago." Yi Wanzhou immediately said, "I read the news. Your police are investigating the murder case involving a scalpel demon 5 years ago. If you want to know the situation, you have come to the right place. For such special sensitive news reports on current affairs, only our provincial newspaper has the right to publish them." "Only in provincial newspapers?" "Yes, only the provincial newspaper. After all, this is a very sensitive news and current affairs, and it involves various influences. Only the provincial newspaper is qualified to publish articles." "That's even better, it's more conducive to screening." "What screening?" Yi Wanzhou asked. "It's all right." Ning Cheng asked, "I want to know where can I still see the newspaper about the murder case of the scalpel demon 5 years ago. Is it your provincial newspaper office?" "The case newspaper from 5 years ago, to be honest, it's hard to find." Yi Wanzhou said, "The electronic document input that our provincial newspaper office has adopted is paperless archive. If you want to call up the archive of the newspaper record, I can ask the leader to send you a sample. But to find that newspaper, our provincial newspaper doesn't have it either." Quote, "The newspaper is archived for me, but apart from your provincial newspaper organization, is there really no other place to store that newspaper?" "Let me think." Yi Wanzhou thought for a moment, then said loudly, "Actually, there may be that newspaper somewhere." "Where?" Ning Cheng pressed immediately. "It looks like this place is very important to you, Officer Ning. I said, do you want to invite me to dinner?" Yi Wanzhou smiled charmingly. "It's my honor to invite reporter Yi to dinner. After the case is over, I'll invite you to dinner." "Well, I'm not going to sell it anymore. The place where the newspaper is still stored should probably be in the provincial library." Yi Wanzhou said, "The provincial library keeps the records of previous years in Zhangcheng, such as the scalpel demon murder case, which has not been detected and has great influence. The provincial library is likely to keep that newspaper." "Thank you, reporter Yi, you helped me a lot." After hanging up the phone, Ning Cheng said to Zhou Ziyan and others, "You heard it too, provincial library." Staring into Ning Cheng's calm and deep eyes, Zhou Ziyan and others trembled all over their bodies, goosebumps crawling all over their bodies. From the population of 6 million in Zhangcheng, the positioning and screening of such a small area of the provincial library. 207. Now, as long as you go to the provincial library to retrieve the records and see who has borrowed Zhangcheng's case records from previous years, you will most likely be able to find the murderer. Let's go, don't be stunned, go to the city and provincial library to have a look." It was nearly 6 o'clock in the evening. Ning Cheng and the others did not hesitate to drive straight to the provincial library. After coming to the library, look through Zhangcheng's case records in previous years. Ning Cheng and others found the provincial newspaper that published the scalpel demon murder case. There is no doubt about this. The photos in the newspaper have details of the murder of the scalpel demon, and there are also detailed picture proofs of the wound. After reading the entire newspaper report, Zhou Ziyan smiled. But because the newspaper is in black and white, the pictures are blurred to a certain extent, so the sign of the scalpel killer on the victim's wrist is not clear, and the murderer mistakenly thinks it is a cross. It is through this newspaper that the murderer of Wang Shuzhen's case was determined to find the details of the murder case of the scalpel demon. Everything is fine below. Zhou Ziyan and Ning Cheng approached the head of the provincial library and asked who had read the file. But the answer came as a surprise. The person in charge of the provincial newspaper said that the records of previous years kept by the provincial library can be viewed by anyone who enters the library. What should we do now? Mu Xiaoyu and Tang Xin both frowned. If anyone can read it, with the flow of people in the provincial library, even if it is searched and monitored, it is difficult to find it. Single quote. No way, now I can only do my best. Zhou Ziyan gritted her teeth and said, mobilize all video surveillance on the 8th floor of the provincial library, search for any suspicious persons, and investigate one by one. The person in charge of the provincial library looked at the video surveillance, his face twitched, and said, Police officer, this workload is not small. The average number of people in the provincial library is 2,000. The number of books related to the 8th floor is less than 400 or 500. There is a week of monitoring in the library. You can find it. Find enough to find it. Mu Xiaoyu suggested. Call the police station and ask them to arrange manpower, otherwise the workload will be too much. Zhou Ziyan thought for a while, but picked up her mobile phone and planned to notify the police support staff. Just at this time, Ning Cheng shook his head and said lightly, leave it to me, find the suspicious person tonight, it should be no problem. Chapter 71. What? Can you find the suspect? Ning Cheng, you're joking, how can you do such a workload by yourself and in one night? Zhou Ziyan looked at Ning Cheng angrily, her eyes full of suspicion. Together with several colleagues who admire Ning Cheng in their hearts, they are also muttering in their hearts. Ning Cheng's ability is strong. But if you want to say that one person has watched the video surveillance of the provincial library for a week, it is impossible to watch it. I'm not kidding about this kind of question. Ning Cheng smiled lightly, watched the video surveillance, and instructed the staff of the provincial library. There are 7 computer display screens on site, so we put this week's monitoring display on each of the 7 screens to play. The staff were dumbfounded and a little disbelieving, but they did. In front of the 7 computer display screens, Ning Cheng sat in a chair, watching quietly with his eyes fixed. Tick, tick, tick. The clock on the wall made a small sound. Ning Cheng's serious look fell into Zhou Ziyan's eyes. The look has become moving. Look, Ning Cheng was also able to identify suspected criminals in 7 surveillance videos. It's like in Tang Tan's movie, the protagonist Qin Feng has the magic camera skills of human flesh. I thought it was only a skill that only a few geniuses have, but Ning Cheng also has it. The video is too slow, speed it up for me. Ning Cheng watched the surveillance video without any distractions, and said aloud to the provincial library staff. Is this not enough? The provincial library staff twitched at the corners of their mouths. Looking at 7 monitoring display screens, do you still need to speed up? Is this F***CK still human? Go crazy. However, considering the identity of Ning Cheng, the provincial library staff did the same, speeding up the speed by 2 times. Ning Cheng watched for a while, then continued, still not enough, hurry up. 2 times are not enough, is 4 times enough? Provincial library staff thought Ning Cheng was playing tricks on himself and deliberately increased the speed to 4x. It's still not enough, let's speed up. That's not enough, then I'll give you the highest 8 times the speed. The library staff snorted and deliberately increased the video screen to 8 times the speed. The monitoring display at this time is very fast. If you observe it with the naked eye of an ordinary person, you can only see a hurried glance. It's not enough to see the facial expressions of the figures in the video. But for Ning Cheng, it wasn't fast enough. Can you go any faster? Ning Cheng asked, staring at the screen video. It can't be faster, 8 times the speed is already the fastest speed. The staff's jaws could not be closed, and they were so shocked that they could stuff an egg. 8 times the speed is not enough. Is this fake or real? Ning Cheng took the images of the 7 display screens into his mind, and said with concentration, that's it, keep this speed. My God, Big Boss Ning Cheng is worthy of being a big boss, no, he is a fairy. Tang Xin had a shocked expression on her face, covering her mouth for fear that the sound would disturb Ning Cheng's thoughts. Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu and the others didn't have the exaggerated expressions like Tang Xin's, but there was not a lot of shock in their hearts. Come on, don't disturb him. Diaresis. The surveillance video will be handed over to Ning Cheng. Let's go out to the library to see if there is any situation or clues. Zhou Ziyan felt very frustrated, and her proud ability to solve cases was simply crushed. Whenever there is a problem, Ning Cheng can always come up with a solution. And Ning Cheng has a lot of powerful abilities, which can really be described as genius. Ning Cheng didn't notice the departure of Zhou Ziyan and others, he stayed in the surveillance room to watch the surveillance video. To others, these surveillance video images are fast. But to him, it still seemed a little slow. Just like watching a normal movie, at normal speed. At this point, Ning Cheng's insight, memory, and world-class dynamic human eye observation experience come into play together. It allows him to quickly identify suspicious suspects in a very short period of time and store the information. Time passed by second. The clock on the wall has been running for more than 50 minutes, and at least 6 hours have passed in the surveillance video, and it is coming to an end. The librarian next to him had already dozed off. At this moment, a sharp noise rang out. The library staff woke up suddenly, and when they looked up, they saw Ning Cheng standing up. What sound? Seeing the loud noise of the chair rubbing against the ground, the staff breathed a sigh of relief and said, "Officer, have you found a suspicious person?" "I found it." Ning Cheng rubbed his eyes, pointed to the slender figure in the surveillance video, and said, "This person is very suspicious. The surveillance shows that this picture was taken at 3 o'clock in the afternoon on the 22nd. In the video, this person appeared on the 8th floor of the provincial library. You log into the computer. Help me check the person who entered the library in the afternoon of the provincial library, compare the ID card information, and find this person." After hearing what Ning Cheng said, the staff dubiously followed suit. Ning Cheng sat back outside the surveillance screen and looked at the figure in the video. The video surveillance of the provincial library has almost no blind spots, and the suspect's face and expressions were clearly photographed. The suspect in the video walked around the archives of that newspaper many times. Although there was no direct photograph of the suspect taking the newspaper file and looking at it. But the video shows that he stayed there for a long time, more than 20 minutes, and it is very likely that he was reading the newspaper. If it is an ordinary person, it is almost impossible to read a newspaper from the past 5 years for that long. Only a murderer would do it. In addition, the suspect's face, to Ning Cheng, seems to be something he has seen before. "Officer, as you said, I found the person who entered the library by swiping their ID number 22. That's the person." The staff of the provincial library showed Ning Cheng the background of the computer information. Looking at the suspect's ID card information and seeing the name, Chen Yang, Ning Cheng's memories were suddenly awakened. Ning Cheng felt similar to the male suspect in front of him because he felt there was a similarity between the suspect and Chen Zhonkang he saw this afternoon. Chen Zhonkang was the classmate of the deceased Wang Shuzhen's daughter Zhao Xiaoli, and the two had an ignorant puppy love affair. Chen Yang. Looking at Chen Yang's ID card information, we can tell that his household registration is in Nanlian Town, Zhongcheng, and he is 40 years old this year. Calculated from appearance and time, this suspect is likely to be Chen Zhonkang's father. In other words, this is a crime committed by an acquaintance. Although the deceased Wang Shuzhen and Chen Yang were not friends, their daughter and son were indeed friends. There is a possibility that the two of them know each other. As for the motive for the murder, we still need to investigate. After finding the suspicious suspect Chen Yang, Ning Cheng walked out of the monitoring room. There was no Zhou Ziyan and others outside, only Tang Xin was outside the door. "Why is it just you? Where did Team Zhou go?" Tang Xin said. "Team Zhou is on the 8th floor. It seems that they have caught a suspect reading a newspaper. She said that after you come out, go find her." Ning Cheng followed Tang Xin to the 8th floor of the provincial library and found that Zhou Ziyan was interrogating a sneaky and nervous man. "Ning Cheng, you came just in time, is there any progress?" Zhou Ziyan pointed to the sneaky man in front of her and said, "I just found a man who was looking through the files of the scalpel murderer. I didn't expect that he was not a murderer, but a writer." Single quote. "Oh, why did he come to the provincial library?" Ning Cheng asked with a smile. "A writer's material. You're right, this police officer, I just want to come to the provincial library to collect materials. Didn't the scalpel murderer reappear in Zhongcheng recently, so I just wanted to find materials and adapt them. Said the sneaky man. Let's go, let's go. Zhou Ziyan let go of the writer impatiently and said to Ning Cheng, Diaresis found the suspect. Found it. Ning Cheng played the surveillance video copied to the mobile phone, and after they watched it, he said. His suspicion is the biggest. According to the ID card information entered by the provincial library, this lean middle-aged man is called Chen Yang, and his household registration is Nanlian Town, Zhongcheng. He is 40 years old this year. Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu, Tang Xin and others watched the video and looked up at Ning Cheng. The complexity and shock in my heart are beyond words. In less than an hour, among thousands of video clips, it is really terrifying to be able to find the suspect. Then what shall we do next? Zhou Ziyan couldn't help asking about Ning Cheng's plan. Don't rush in to investigate, let the Nanlian Township Police Station hand over Chen Yang's files to us. I know this, but it's getting late. Ning Cheng, go back and rest. It was past 10 o'clock. Ning Cheng and other colleagues went home to rest, and planned to wait until the next day to go to Nanlian Town for investigation. The next day, Ning Cheng got up, went to the police cafeteria to have a meal, and then reported to meet up. Unexpectedly, Zhou Ziyan came in a hurry and said the news that shocked Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng, Nanlian Township Police Station has another murder case this morning. It's suspected to be a scalpel demon murder case. Breakfast with you on the road, go to Nanlian Town to see the situation first. Ning Cheng brought 2 steamed buns, then joined Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu and others, and drove to Nanlian Town. More than an hour later, the crime scene in Nanlian Town. When Ning Cheng and others arrived, the Nanlian Town Police Department and several waves of elite old captains from the city bureau were there. Nanlian Township Police Department FA remarkable doctor gave Ning Cheng and others autopsy results and detailed information on the deceased. The deceased, Li Rongfang, female, 26 years old, white-collar worker, was accidentally killed after get off work at night. The method of killing was cutting his throat to death, his heart was taken away, and a special scalpel murderer mark was left on his wrist. The way the deceased was murdered was the same as yesterday. Only this time a broken scalpel blade remained in the body of the deceased. In addition, because of the light rain last night, the road was a little muddy, and a set of footprints were left beside the deceased Li Rongfang, which were suspected to be those left by the murderer. Not the mark of a real scalpel killer. Zhou Ziyan looked at the photos of the deceased in the archives and said gloomily. But this guy is no less brutal than a scalpel murderer. He just killed 2 days ago, and now he dares to kill before the limelight has passed. If he allows him to continue like this, he will probably kill more people than the scalpel murderer. Quote, such a murderer is really rampant and courageous. This is provoking us. Chen Yang's file, are you coming? Ning Cheng asked. It's coming, it's very suspicious. Zhou Ziyan handed over the file to Ning Cheng and said, Chen Yang is a businessman, but after various researches, this guy has a medical background. He used to be a surgeon before, and then he worked in the medical device industry. After he developed, he opened a hotel restaurant. Fei. Ning Cheng took the file and opened it. In the column of professional experience above, there is a line of text. The word, surgeon, is very striking. Chen Yang's file was reviewed in detail by Ning Cheng. Look at the column of professional experience, plus the video of the provincial library. It can almost be concluded that Chen Yang is the murderer of Wang Shuzhen's case. Just when Ning Cheng was thinking, Zhou Ziyan observed the transaction at the scene of the crime and brought a message. Ning Cheng, there is a set of footprints beside Li Rongfang, the deceased in this case. According to the depth of the footprints and the length of the shoes, the murderer is a fat man with a height of 1.83 meters and a weight of 230 pounds. Quote, according to the files of Chen Yang given to us by the Nanlian Township Police Station, Chen Yang is 1.78 meters tall and weighs 140 kilograms, which is completely inconsistent. Will there be such a thing? Ning Cheng followed Zhou Ziyan to the scene of the crime. This is a deserted street. Because it rained lightly in Zhongcheng last night, the road was a little muddy and wet. So beside Li Rongfang of the deceased, the murderer's footprints were branded on the muddy road. The crime scene was surrounded by a long cordon. Outside the cordon, several elite captains from the city bureau stood. Inside the cordon, several forensic doctors conducted on-site investigations. The female forensic doctor Tang Xin just came out of the cordon, and Ning Cheng immediately asked, "How can it be like that? According to the set of footprints of the murderer, you judge that the murderer is a fat man." Tang Xin replied, "Brother Ning, you also understand forensic autopsy. According to the on-site investigation and inspection, you can determine the murderer's size and height through the footprints." "I know that, but what's your inference?" Ning Cheng asked. "Yesterday you also watched the video of the provincial library. It should be clear that the suspect is a very thin middle-aged man." 210 Tang Xin said. "According to the investigation of the footprints at the scene, the murderer is a fat man, 183 in height and 230 jins in weight." Zhou Ziyan frowned beside her, doubts flashed in her eyes. "The forensic doctor of Nanlian Town and the city bureau's forensic doctor are here, and the results of the inquest will not be wrong." "Ning Cheng, could it be that we deduced wrongly?" Ning Cheng lowered his head slightly and pursed his lips, but did not speak. He trusts his own judgment and won't make mistakes easily. However, as Zhou Ziyan said, the city bureau forensic doctor and the forensic doctor of Nanlian Town are both here, and the judgment they get together will not be wrong. Where will the problem arise? And many more. Suddenly, Ning Cheng's mind flashed. The forensic doctor determined that the height of the murderer was 183 and the weight was 230 pounds. The profile of the deceased Li Rongfang just watched by Ning Cheng. The deceased Li Rongfang was 1.6 meters tall and weighed 90 pounds. According to the information on Chen Yang given by the Nanlian Township Police Station, he is 178 tall and weighs 140 pounds. If Chen Yang is the murderer, then his weight plus the weight of the victim Li Rongfang is the 230 data obtained by the forensic doctor. As for height inconsistencies, it is very likely that Chen Yang was wearing a pair of oversized shoes, and the data on his weight caused the forensic doctor's misjudgment. This is a cunning murderer. Not only likes to kill, but also wants to set up a situation to play tricks on the police. Tang Xin asked, "Now the forensic examination results are inconsistent with the direction of our investigation. Do we need to make adjustments?" Just when Ning Cheng opened his mouth to explain, suddenly, the old police captain of the City Bureau (CDBC) outside the cordon laughed. "Ning Cheng, congratulations on your detection of the sibutramine contraband case. Now, do you have any clues about the demon murder case of the scalpel murderer?" A middle-aged captain who was once at the city council mobilization meeting laughed and said, "Would you like us to reveal some clues to you? This scalpel demon murder case seems to have been committed by the scalpel devil 5 years ago, but it's not, it's a copycat crime." Quote, "There is no shortage of experienced old detectives in the police force, and they can see the nature of this case. Now the second case is also done by the imitator, but this time he has revealed flaws and loopholes." The old detective captain just now said, "Just like that set of footprints, because of the light rain last night, the road was a little muddy. We have collected the footprints of the murderer, and we can completely trace the murderer through the data obtained from that set of footprints. The level of that imitator is a bit low, not as good as that of the real scalpel demon. Now I suggest that you consider what I said." Captain Liu of the City Bureau. Ning Cheng smiled lightly. "Why do you want to reveal the clues to us? The case is a copycat murder. This is a very important direction to solve the case. We are in a competitive relationship now, and at the last city council mobilization meeting, you thought I was too young to solve the sibutramine case. Then was then, now is now." Lu Ren said, "To tell you the clue, the main thing is to let our police force work together, not to distract our energy, and to solve the case together. In front of the case, you can temporarily put aside your personal grievances. There is another point, Ning Cheng, your ability is good, but the ability of our old captains is not bad." After speaking, the old captain who came to support from other city bureaus laughed. Although they were satisfied with Ning Cheng's strength, they still had some seniority and wanted to make fun of him. Encounter this situation. As the team leader, Zhou Ziyan will naturally not tolerate sitting by and watching Ning Cheng be bullied. "Lu team, this case doesn't really need you to reveal clues to us. Yesterday, we had already judged that this was a criminal case against the scalpel demon imitation." Quote, Ning Cheng knew at a glance that this was a copycat crime. In addition, the police force speaks by their ability. You haven't solved the case yet, and you are not worthy of giving guidance in the tone of a winner. Zhou Ziyan has a straightforward personality, and she has to continue to fight in the past, but was stopped by Ning Cheng. Let me say a few words. Team Lu took the initiative to reveal the clues to us. I'm actually very happy. What you said just now is quite right. In the face of the case, we must put aside our personal grievances, share our hatred with the enemy, share information, and avoid wasting police force and resources. Ning Cheng stared at Lu Ren and smiled faintly. So I also share information with Team Lu. The forensic doctor deduced that the murderer was 183 in height and 230 kgs in weight based on the murderer's footprints. This data is a misjudgment. As soon as Ning Cheng said this, there was an uproar inside and outside the cordon. Many forensic doctors frowned. Ning Cheng's remarks are simply blaming their ability level. Tang Xin pulled Ning Cheng's cuff and whispered, "Mr. Ning Cheng, all of our forensic doctors have come to the conclusion based on the footprints. Without a single objection, it is almost impossible that there will be problems. Of course I know that it was all your forensic doctors, including the City Bureau's elite forensic doctors, who came to the judgment together." Ning Cheng said, "I'm not questioning your abilities, I just think you were confused by the footprints on the scene. This is just a trick set up by a murderer." "Blindfolding," Tang Xin exclaimed. Ning Cheng said, "According to the footprints left by the murderer, through the depth of the footprints and the length of the shoes, the height and weight data of the murderer can naturally be judged. I also know forensic medicine. Just looking at the footprints, the data results obtained by the forensic medicine are not wrong." Quote, "Just have you ever thought that this set of footprints was deliberately left by the murderer for the purpose of showing us? Assuming I am the murderer, I can prepare larger shoes in advance, kill the deceased, then carry the deceased Li Rongfeng on his back, and then step on the ground. This is the footprint I left on purpose. The data you get from the footprint is just what I want you to see." Tang Xin and the other forensic doctors looked at each other, shocked. According to Ning Cheng, if the murderer really did this, he could have faked the wrong data results. And it's hard to find. I suspect that this is not the first crime scene, but a scene deliberately created by the murderer. If you want to get more clues. Ning Cheng stopped talking and looked at the police captain Lu Ren and said, "I advise you not to be fooled by forensic footprint data. Go in the wrong direction and you will always get the wrong result." Quote. Lu Ren was shocked and fell silent. Ning Cheng's statement, "as old detectives, can naturally tell the truth. Although this is an imitation murder case, the murderer's IQ is not low, and he also has a desire to perform. He likes to play with the police. As experienced old criminal policeman, Lu team, don't be confused." Ning Cheng said, "You were right just now. In order to avoid wasting police force and resources, after thinking about it, I still think this information should be shared with you." Lu Ren and several old city bureau captains turned red. I wanted to educate newcomers, but I didn't expect to be educated by Ning Cheng instead. And he couldn't say anything to refute it. After all, that's what they told Ning Cheng. Ha ha ha. Zhou Ziyan and a few others whispered and held back their smiles. It's really funny how these old foxes in the city bureau are deflated. Let's go, Team Zhou, we should be busy. Ning Cheng took Zhou Ziyan and others away from this fake crime scene. "Mr. Ning Cheng, you haven't shared any information yet." Inside the police car, Tang Xin said naively, "We found information about the suspect Chen Yang." Mu Xiaoyu's head banged on Tang Xin's head. "Stupid, we told all this information, and they were the ones who made the merits." The police car burst into laughter. That scene just now was really exhilarating. Wang Jin, who was driving, asked Ning Cheng where he was going. Ning Cheng said, "Go to the suspect Chen Yang's house to see." Zhongcheng, Nanlian Town. After tracing the suspect of Chen Yang, Zhou Ziyan and Ning Cheng are divided. Zhou Ziyan went to investigate the second murder case, the murder of Li Rongfeng, to investigate Li Rongfeng's social background and to investigate and visit the network. Ning Cheng immediately set off for Chen Yang's house. Regarding the case of the second victim, Li Rongfeng, Ning Cheng didn't want to waste time. At present, the suspect Chen Yang is even more arrogant than the original scalpel murderer. Must be arrested as soon as possible. Prevent more victims from being killed. And when I went to Chen Yang's house to investigate, Ning Cheng cannot easily issue a search warrant to investigate. If Chen Yang had great vigilance, he would clear all the clues at home. A hasty investigation may be a surprise. To investigate with other workarounds. After thinking, Ning Cheng decided to use Zhao Xiaoli, the daughter of the victim in the first case, as an excuse to go to Chen Yang's house. For example, high school student's puppy love problem. When he came to Zhao Xiaoli's house, Ning Cheng explained his purpose. Zhao Xiaoli quickly agreed. Ning Cheng did not tell Zhao Xiaoli that Chen Yang was suspected, but asked her to cooperate with the investigation and visit her current classmate's family. Chen Yang was the first to investigate. That's Chen Yang's home. In the car, Zhao Xiaoli pointed to the luxuriously decorated villa in front. The living conditions are good. Ning Cheng asked, "What do you think of your classmate Chen Zhonkang? He is a very kind boy, tall and handsome, and has good grades in school. There are many girls in the school who like him." Zhao Xiaoli said in a low voice and recalled, "But Chen Zhonkang likes me. I used to focus on studying at school, but under his soft and hard bubbles, I gradually became a little affectionate." Is that so? Ning Cheng learned that Zhao Xiaoli has one of the best grades in school and has the potential to go to a double first-class university. Have you known his father Chen Yang? What happened to Chen Zhonkang's father Chen Yang? Zhao Xiaoli asked in surprise. Why do you ask this question? Is he suspicious? The girl's mind is very sharp. Ning Cheng shook his head, not planning to tell her, and said, "No, at present the suspicion may exist in the homes of all your classmates. Chen Yang said that he is also suspected, but he will investigate other families later." That's it. Zhao Xiaoli shook her head. "I don't know his dad very well. When the parent-teacher meeting was held, I felt that he was very energetic and looked like a boss. I don't dare to touch someone like him, it's too far away from me." Chen Yang is against you and his son Chen Zhonkang having a puppy love? Ning Cheng asked. It doesn't seem to be. According to Chen Zhonkang, his father doesn't care much about him. As long as he learns what to do, he can try everything that should be tried. Anyway, his father will give him the bottom line. Have Chen Yang ever had a conflict with your mother Wang Shuzhen? Ning Cheng continued to ask. No, Zhao Xiaoli shook her head and said, we don't dare to provoke a wealthy family like Chen Yang. My mother is always at a distance. When I held parent-teacher meetings before, I only said a few words, and there was no contradiction. Single quote. Only. Zhao Xiaoli pondered for a while. Just what? Ning Cheng asked. When there was a parent-teacher meeting, I vaguely felt that Chen Yang looked at my mother with disgust, as if he looked down on us. Zhao Xiaoli said, it may be that our family conditions are not good and we can't get into his eyes. Because of the poor class? Ning Cheng asked, then do you feel that Chen Yang dislikes other poor families? You can't be the only family in the school with bad conditions. It doesn't seem to be. I don't know, maybe I haven't paid attention to it. Zhao Xiaoli thought hard, a little regretful and unexpected. Don't be discouraged, I'll ask. Ning Cheng patted Zhao Xiaoli on the shoulder and comforted her softly. In his heart, Ning Cheng thought that Chen Yang showed disgust towards Wang Shuzhen. It is not because of the poverty of Wang Shuzhen's family. But it may be because of Wang Shuzhen's profession, a bar girl, a profession that plays edge balls. Chen Yang should have seen Wang Shuzhen working in a bar. Even if Chen Yang is now the boss, socializing in a bar, he may have bumped into Wang Shuzhen while at the parent meeting. That's why Chen Yang showed a sense of disgust. If it is said that Chen Yang hates killing people because Wang Shuzhen is engaged in the profession of Hu. So today's white-collar Li Rongfang died, and why was he killed? Ning Cheng sent VX to Zhou Zian on his mobile phone. Ask her to inquire about today's case to see if the relationship between white-collar Li Rongfang and Chen Yang is involved. In addition, the character of the deceased Li Rongfang also needs a detailed investigation by Zhou Zian. Let's go to Chen Yang's house to investigate. Later, I will say that I am your distant cousin to solve the problem of your puppy love with Chen Zhonkang. After notifying Zhou Zian, Ning Cheng took Zhao Xiaoli into Chen Yang's small villa. Okay, I have informed Chen Zhonkang, he will come to pick us up later, and his dad goes to work today and won't come home until evening. It's okay, we're just investigating and visiting. What Ning Cheng wants is that Chen Yang is not at home. In this way, you can take a good look at Chen Yang's family to see if there are hidden clues. After entering Chen Yang's house, Chen Zhonkang, a boy of the same age as Zhao Xiaoli, came out to meet him. Zhao Xiaoli introduced. This is my cousin, he wants to talk to you about something. Looking at Ning Cheng's handsome face, Chen Zhonkang was a little appetizing at first, but when he heard the word cousin, he immediately became enthusiastic. You're the only one in your house? Ning Cheng asked sideways. No one but me. My mom went out to do yoga. My dad is in the company. Cousin, come in. Chen Zhonkang enthusiastically brought Ning Cheng and Zhao Xiaoli into Chen's house. When entering the house, Ning Cheng glanced at the shoe cabinet. The floor is very clean. It took a lot of effort to see it. Let's change a pair of shoes. It doesn't matter what kind of shoes you wear. Chen Zhonkang waved his hands and said, anyway, my mother will invite housekeepers over, and she doesn't do much housework. Even for housekeeping, it will take a long time to clean such a big house. Change your shoes. Ning Cheng asked repeatedly that Chen Zhonkang didn't want to make a bad impression in front of him, so he had to open the shoe cabinet. That is, the moment the shoe cabinet was opened, Ning Cheng saw a pair of Nike sneakers. This pair of Nike sneakers is a full-size 43, the largest shoe in the shoe cabinet. What is your cousin looking at? Chen Zhonkang noticed that Ning Cheng was watching the sneakers, picked up the shoes and laughed. This is my sneaker AJ, star signature model, cousin is very interested. Can you take a look? Of course you can, just look at it. Ning Cheng picked up the sneakers, opened the soles and looked at them, his eyes suddenly froze. The pattern on the sole is exactly the same as that of the footprints of the forensic doctor in the case of the deceased Li Rongfeng this morning. Size 43, which should be Chen Zhonkang's foot size. The shoes are bigger, how tall are you? Ning Cheng asked casually. 183, I'm the main force of the school basketball team. Chen Zhonkang touched his head and smiled. 183. This data is the height of the murderer calculated by the forensic doctor based on the footprints, which is also the height of Chen Zhonkang. But Chen Zhonkang can't be a murderer. Chen Zhonkang is not the murderer, whether in terms of reasoning or using systematic sin value analysis. The only possibility is that the murderer is Chen Yang. Chen Yang wore his son Chen Zhonkang's sneakers last night, and deliberately set a blindfold for the police after the murder. Are these sneakers yours too? Ning Cheng glanced at the smaller pair of sneakers next to him and asked casually. No, those are my dad's sneakers. Ning Cheng visually estimated that the pair of Chen Yang's sneakers was about 41 in size, which is the shoe size that matches Chen Yang's height data. Well, the shoes are good, I will buy a pair when I have a chance in the future. Since my cousin likes sneakers, I'll just give you these shoes. Chen Zhonkang glanced at Ning Cheng's feet. I see cousin, your feet seem to be the same size as mine, you should be able to wear these shoes. Single quote. And this pair of shoes has collectible value. What's so funny about that? Naturally, Ning Cheng knew what Chen Zhonkang was thinking. It was nothing more than seeing that Ning Cheng was Zhao Xiaoli's cousin and wanted to be courteous. However, this pair of shoes is suspected of related evidence, and Ning Cheng has decided. It is the best that Chen Zhonkang can give voluntarily. That's it, I'll wrap it up for you later. Chen Zhonkang waved his air, full of boldness, and his eyes all fell on Zhao Xiaoli. Thank you then. Ning Cheng did not refuse politely, which surprised Zhao Xiaoli. As a policeman, how can Ning Cheng take other people's things indiscriminately? Moreover, he is not her cousin, so taking Chen Zhonkang's sneakers makes Zhao Xiaoli feel a little uncomfortable. But thinking that Ning Cheng was the one who solved her mother's murder, Zhao Xiaoli didn't pick it up. Ning Cheng didn't know about a series of changes in Zhao Xiaoli's mind. His acting skills were so good that Zhao Xiaoli had a misunderstanding in her heart. Next, Ning Cheng tentatively asked Chen Zhonkang's whereabouts last night, and learned that Chen Zhonkang was doing homework in the room last night, and then playing games. What was your dad doing last night? Ning Cheng asked. Flowers. According to the inference of the City Bureau forensic doctor and the Nanlian Town forensic doctor, Li Rongfeng, the deceased in the second murder case, was killed at 9 o'clock last night. My dad didn't do anything, he went home after get off work. Chen Zhonkang was puzzled and said, cousin asked my dad what to do. Nothing. I want to talk to your parents about something. You know, Xiaoli's mother was killed. Ning Cheng then asked, what time did your dad get home last night? It was about 10:30 last night, when I was in the room and heard my mom complain to my dad that he was procrastinating again. Ning Cheng asked, does your dad often procrastinate? When does he usually get home from get off work? Chen Zhonkang said, this is uncertain, sometimes it's early, sometimes it's late, it all depends on when the company's affairs are finished, then my dad will go home after get off work. Cousin, you ask so many things about my dad, how do you feel like asking about my dad's whereabouts last night? Chen Zhonkang gradually realized that something was wrong and became suspicious of Ning Cheng. Fortunately, Zhao Xiaoli spoke, dispelling Chen Zhonkang's doubts. My cousin asked what's going on, you seem to be getting impatient. Zhao Xiaoli faintly noticed Ning Cheng's investigation of Chen Yang, and covered up. No, how could I be impatient? Chen Zhonkang smiled shyly, and did not ask any further questions. Xiaoli, talk to him first, I'll go to the bathroom. Ning Cheng gave Zhao Xiaoli a wink and walked to the bathroom. But, on the way to the bathroom, Ning Cheng made a sudden turn. 0. Go to Chen Yang's bedroom. Ning Cheng's real purpose is not to go to the bathroom. Instead, he sneaked into Chen Yang's bedroom and studied to see if he could find clues. After entering Chen Yang's bedroom, Ning Cheng searched carefully, but found no useful clues. However, after entering Chen Yang's study, Ning Cheng found a password safe in the room, which couldn't be opened, and didn't know what was inside. Chen Yang's suspicion is getting bigger and bigger. Ning Cheng tapped the safe with his fingers lightly, his eyes shining with determination. Even if you don't see Chen Yang, you don't use the systematic analysis of evil. At this time, Ning Cheng can also confirm that the murderer is Chen Yang. Shoes, Chen Yang's absence certificate, and this safe that hides secrets. There are many doubts, you can already apply for a search warrant and arrest Chen Yang. It seems like it's been a while for your cousin to go to the bathroom. Chen Zhonkang glanced at his watch and said, would you like me to take a look, did an accident happen? No need, Zhao Xiaoli said. Wait for him, maybe my cousin broke his stomach at noon. Although it's not clear what exactly Ning Cheng is doing. But Zhao Xiaoli vaguely felt that Ning Cheng was targeting the Chen family, especially Chen Zhonkang's father Chen Yang. Could it be that Chen Yang is the murderer? Should I still have a look? Having said that, Chen Zhonkang glanced at his watch and got up to go to the bathroom. He always felt that Zhao Xiaoli's cousin was strange, and he could not tell the truth. At this moment, Ning Cheng walked to the living room and said with a smile, why are you getting up, your parents haven't come yet. Single quote. Not yet. Watching Ning Cheng arrive, Chen Zhonkang's uneasy heart was soothed. Cousin, why did you stay in the bathroom for a long time just now? Single quote. Playing games in the bathroom is so engrossing. Ning Cheng smiled and said, since your parents haven't come yet, let's come back tomorrow. Do you want to wait any longer? Chen Zhonkang asked. No, Xiaoli, let's go, see you tomorrow. Ning Cheng took Zhao Xiaoli out of Chen's house. At the same time, the lights were lit in the garage of the villa, and it seemed that Chen Zhonkang's father, Chen Yang, had gone home. But Ning Cheng had no intention of nostalgia, went out the door and called Zhou Ziyan. Team Zhou, have you issued a search warrant against Chen Yang's house? I applied for a search of Chen Yang's house, and now Chen Yang can be apprehended and interrogated. In addition, I found physical evidence, the shoes Chen Yang wore in Li Rongfeng's case. Beside her, Zhao Xiaoli felt like she was overturned. That Chen Yang was the murderer of his mother. Now, with Ning Cheng just picking up the sneakers and a lot of tentative questions, there's a reason for everything. For investigation. The other side. After Chen Yang returned home, as soon as he opened the shoe cabinet, his expression changed drastically. Zhonkang, why are your sneakers missing? Team Zhou, I think Chen Yang can be apprehended. In addition, after applying for a search warrant, you can immediately search Chen Yang's house. After walking out of Chen Yang's house, Ning Cheng immediately called Zhou Ziyan. Can you be sure? Zhou Ziyan asked, have you found key evidence? Chen Yang left the scalpel fragments in the victim Li Rongfeng's body. I didn't find Chen Yang's scalpel, but I found the shoes of the set of footprints. Ning Cheng took a photo of the pair of Nike sneakers he brought out and sent it to Zhou Ziyan. The bottom pattern of this pair of sneakers is exactly the same as the set of footprint patterns left at the scene of Li Rongfeng's death. In addition, the size of the footprints is also correct. Quote, "Okay, I will notify the Nanlian Township Police Station to arrest Chen Yang." Zhou Ziyan couldn't hide her surprise on the phone and said, "It seems that the arrest of Chen Yang this time is completely certain." Team Zhou, how is your investigation? In the second murder case, did the deceased Li Rongfeng have any social connection with Chen Yang? Ning Cheng has always wanted to know Chen Yang's motives for killing Wang Shuzhen and Li Rongfeng successively. He felt that Wang Shuzhen and Li Rongfeng were killed in the same place on 210. It's just this similarity that Ning Cheng hasn't thought of yet. According to our investigation in the afternoon, we visited Li Rongfeng's social background and network. Zhou Ziyan said, as a white-collar worker in a pharmaceutical company, the victim Li Rongfeng has a very simple social relationship and has no direct communication with Chen Yang. How so? Ning Cheng, don't be in a hurry, wait until I finish speaking. Zhou Ziyan laughed and said directly, but the deceased Li Rongfeng and Chen Yang are indirectly connected. Because Li Rongfeng's current boss of the pharmaceutical company is Chen Yang's partner. Although Chen Yang is not the boss of this company, it has certain shares and is a major shareholder. I'm guessing they don't have a direct strong link, but there is a weak link. It's like Chen Yang and Wang Shuzhen. Although Chen Yang and Wang Shuzhen have no direct contact and social interaction, his son Chen Zhonkang and Wang Shuzhen's daughter Zhao Shaoli are good friends. Zhou Ziyan said her conclusion. That's why we couldn't get any clues by investigating Wang Shuzhen's relationship network. This Chen Yang is indeed very cunning. The target of his murder never finds people who are directly related, but people who have indirect relationships and are strangers. Zhou Ziyan's judgment is indeed reasonable. Ning Cheng nodded and said, the rabbit doesn't eat the grass on the edge of the nest. He knows that doing something to the people around him is likely to attract suspicion. Yes, you're right, but there's one thing I don't quite understand. Zhou Ziyan wondered. Neither the victims Wang Shuzhen nor Li Rongfeng have any direct contact with Chen Yang, and they haven't even seen each other on weekdays. How could they provoke Chen Yang's killing intent? There is no obvious conflict between them. Sometimes killing doesn't require conflict. As long as an unhappy look, a word that hits a sore spot, and a self-approved point of view can be the reason for killing. Ning Cheng said, Chen Yang killed Wang Shuzhen. I already have some guesses about the investigation of the victim Li Rongfeng. What kind of person is she like? According to the investigation of the victim Li Rongfeng's family and colleagues, according to them, Li Rongfeng has a good personality and has no major flaws in her personality. She is only late for work occasionally, and she is lazy and fails to complete her performance. Late, can't be lazy to finish the performance. Ning Cheng frowned. Chen Yang killed Wang Shuzhen, probably because he saw Wang Shuzhen working on Hu in a bar, which led to disgust. Chen Yang killed Li Rongfeng because of lazy words. Suddenly, Ning Cheng's body trembled. He suddenly thought of the 7 deadly sins. Lust and laziness are one of the 7 deadly sins. Could it be that Chen Yang disliked Wang Shuzhen and Li Rongfeng for committing such crimes, which led to murder with intent to kill? Chen Yang has experience as a surgeon. This kind of occupation often has cleanliness addiction, physical and psychological cleanliness or spiritual and moral cleanliness. Surgeons sometimes decide the life and death of patients. Over time, it is entirely possible to develop a subconscious mind that ignores life. Just now Ning Cheng tried Chen Yang's son Chen Zhonkang. According to Chen Zhonkang, Chen Yang is very meticulous on weekdays and has a very strict personality, which is a typical example of not rubbing the sand in his eyes. Team Zhou, did you know Chen Yang during your investigation and visit? Zhou Ziyan shook her head and said, we didn't start an investigation against Chen Yang for fear of rushing to the grass to startle the snake. But when tracing the deceased Li Rongfeng, we consulted the owner of the pharmaceutical company, Chen Yang's partner, and indirectly asked Chen Yang. Single quote. He said that Chen Yang is obsessive-compulsive. Although he does not work in the company, he must have an office in the pharmaceutical company, and the equipment in the office is arranged according to his requirements. Once the boss received guests in Chen Yang's office and disrupted the furnishings of the office, causing Chen Yang to be furious. Just because the furnishings in the office are messed up, I burst into a rage. Chen Yang's obsessive-compulsive disorder is not small. After listening to Zhou Ziyan's words, Ning Cheng was able to confirm. Chen Yang may have killed Wang Shuzhen and Li Rongfang because of the two sins of lust and laziness. Ning Cheng sighed and said, not only obsessive-compulsive disorder, but also prone to irritability, which proves that Chen Yang is not as gentle and docile as he looks. Chen Yang's character has flaws, and his nature has been backlogged. When it breaks out, the devil in his heart will be released. Quote, let's start the search and arrest of Chen Yang. Ning Cheng and Zhou Ziyan exchanged conversations at the same time. Inside the Chen family villa. Kang, why are your sneakers missing? Chen Yang's face changed drastically, suppressing his anger, and asked, why are those sneakers missing? Single quote. Kang was taken aback by his father's attitude and panicked. I gave away my sneakers. To whom? Zhao Shaoli's cousin. Who are you talking about? Who is Zhao Shaoli's cousin? Chen Yang asked with a gloomy face. Just now, Zhao Shaoli's cousin came over and said that he wanted to talk to you about my early relationship with Zhao Shaoli. Chen Kang told his father Chen Yang about the experience of Ning Cheng's arrival. You said he went to the bathroom and stayed for a long time. Chen Yang's eyelids jumped wildly, ignoring his son Chen Kang's voice, and immediately ran to the study upstairs to check. In the study, there was no sign of the safe being opened or moved. But Chen Yang instinctively panicked. Isn't Zhao Shaoli the daughter of Wang Shuzhen who he killed? During this time, the police have been investigating Wang Shuzhen's case. How could Zhao Shaoli come to his house for no reason, not to mention a cousin suddenly popped up? The most important thing is that the so-called cousin who asked Chen Kang was clearly investigating him. Is that person a policeman? With this thought in his mind, Chen Yang immediately opened the safe, took out the scalpel inside, and set out to find a place to throw it away. But at this time, a crazy idea appeared in Chen Yang's mind. That Ning Cheng is investigating him, whether he is a policeman or not, just kill him. What about the police? He hasn't killed a cop yet. The police are not necessarily good, as long as he looks unhappy or threatens him, then go to hell. A crazy smile appeared at the corner of Chen Yang's mouth. Immediately, I saw him running wildly out, chasing after Ning Cheng. Just as he drove into the garage, Chen Yang saw two people walking out of the house. Only a few minutes have passed. The two of them definitely didn't get far. Killed together. Just like that, let's arrest Chen Yang. After Ning Cheng and Zhou Ziyan communicated, they hung up immediately. Zhao Shaoli kept silent on the phone and asked suddenly. Sorry, Officer Ning, I just misunderstood you in the living room. It's okay, it doesn't matter. Ning Cheng waved his hand, not taking it to heart. 1.2 inches is Chen Yang the one who killed my mother? Zhao Shaoli asked in a trembling voice. My mother has never blushed with anyone or offended him. Why did Chen Yang kill my mother? Because your mother may betray the Hu. Ning Cheng didn't tell Zhao Shaoli this sentence. This answer may be too cruel. After all, their family is poor. If there is a choice, her mother Wang Shuzhen will definitely not choose this career. Just when Ning Cheng was silent, suddenly, there was a roar of laughter in the dark night. Don't think about it, I'll take you on your way. Chen Yang's body seeped out from the dark night, and the alternating light and dark shadows made his face look weird. Are you a policeman? You were investigating me just now. Chen Yang smiled at Ning Cheng. I won't let you go, you won't survive tonight. Ning Cheng laughed. An iron waist can still succeed in dealing with weak women. Against him, not to mention a scalpel, but a gun, Ning Cheng didn't even take it seriously. Who won't let anyone go? Have you figured it out? Think about it clearly, who doesn't let who off? Ning Cheng put the phone back in his pocket and looked at Chen Yang coldly. This middle-aged man was very lean and had a stern face. Above his head, Ning Cheng saw a sin value as high as 300. This guy killed a lot of people, resulting in a much higher sin value than ordinary criminals. What gave you so much confidence to attack the police? Ning Cheng smiled coldly. According to my judgment, Chen Yang, you have a big flaw in your character, and now it seems that your brain and spirit are also wrong. What happened to the police? There are no bad guys among the police. Anyone who threatens me will die. Chen Yang held a sharp scalpel in his hand, and he had strong muscles on his arms, which seemed to have been exercised. Do you know that I will take your heart later to see if your heart is black? Chen Yang walked slowly in the darkness, with a cruel grin on the corner of his mouth. My scalpel is sharp and specially made. When it pierces your chest, it will be very fast, and it will tear your muscle fibers and fascia in an instant. Quote. As he spoke, Chen Yang's body trembled with excitement. Ning Cheng frowned slightly. In front of Chen Yang, there might be a real problem with his spirit. A normal person was immediately found by the police to find evidence and clues, and immediately thought of running away overnight. Instead, Chen Yang wanted to kill him. A feverish desire to kill is an early symptom of a psychopath. Beside, Zhao Shaoli couldn't help but shivered, holding back her fear. For Ning Cheng, Chen Yang has nothing to fear. But for an ordinary 23-pass female high school student like Zhao Shaoli, Chen Yang is too terrifying. Kill 2 people in succession. And at this moment, he still exudes a perverted temperament, which makes people shudder. Ning Cheng watched Chen Yang walk step by step, and said lightly, I warn you, put down the scalpel, I can save you from pain. The police are amazing, they are still human, as long as the scalpel cuts the aorta of your neck, you will also die. Chen Yang smiled pervertedly. Stupid. Upon seeing this, Ning Cheng was not polite, took out the pistol at his waist, and pointed it at Chen Yang. I said, you want to know my identity, and then make a decision, okay. I'm not a powerless woman, but a policeman. Who gave you the courage to wave a knife at me? The scalpel murder demon is a case that has caused a sensation in the province and even the whole country. And has certain risks. So the police station approved Zhou Zian, Ning Cheng and others to carry guns for self-defense. Although Ning Cheng's force value is already worldwide. But for problems that can be solved with a gun, Ning Cheng still prefers to solve it with a gun. Just save yourself the trouble. I saw Ning Cheng had a gun in his hand and pointed it at himself. Chen Yang was stunned for a second or two, his face was gloomy and uncertain, and he did not move towards Ning Cheng. Stupid, why don't you do it? Ning Cheng thought that the 2 victims were under Chen Yang's scalpel, and glared coldly. Waste, you only dare to do something to those women who are powerless, but if you are a man, you dare to kill them. I'm a waste, well said, police officer. Facing the pistol, Chen Yang quickly calmed down and smiled lowly. I haven't done anything to a man, but I decided to do it to a man. You are the first to die. As soon as the words fell, Chen Yang sprinted towards Ning Cheng, holding the scalpel in his hand. For Chen Yang's actions, Ning Cheng was not surprised at all. In exchange for a normal murderer, it is impossible to be so presumptuous in the face of a pistol. But whoever called Chen Yang is a psychopath. Psychopaths cannot be speculated with common sense. Ning Cheng put away the pistol. He didn't want to injure Chen Yang, and then let him go to the hospital for arrest and interrogation. That would be a lot of wasted time and police force. To deal with psychopaths, we must use abnormal methods. Go to hell, Chen Yang roared with a grin, his eyes filled with joy, as if he could see Ning Cheng killed in the next second. Officer Ning, be careful. Zhao Shaoli covered her mouth and was too scared to move. What a mess. Ning Cheng looked at Chen Yang who was coming in, and kicked out with a heavy kick. Bang! It seemed to hit the human flesh sandbag, making a muffled thunder-like sound. The huge force was like the explosion of a cannonball, and it instantly kicked Chen Yang 4 or 5 meters away, fell to the ground and vomited blood, directly disabling his body. Zhao Shaoli was dumbfounded, looking at the scene in front of him in shock. With just one kick, Chen Yang lost his mobility. It's like making a movie. Officer Ning is really powerful, and gives people a good sense of security. Ho ho, blood foam overflowed at the corner of Chen Yang's mouth, and he couldn't get up. Looking at Ning Cheng walking step by step, there was not much fear in his eyes. Chen Yang stared at Ning Cheng, but a smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Proud smile, like a provocation. He killed 2 people in a row, only to be caught. He succeeded. You seem proud of killing 2 women. In the darkness, a cold voice sounded. Chen Yang looked around in his head, and finally determined that the different special voice came from Ning Cheng's mouth. Ning Cheng's temperament has changed. Become crazy, the black and white pupils are full of madness and fun. Killing intent is condensed little by little. Chen Yang's mouth widened. He is very familiar with this kind of temperament. This is the same temperament as him. Could it be that the policeman in front of him became crazy and perverted under his influence? If it is like this. Chen Yang felt extremely happy and joyful, and a smile appeared on his face again. But he couldn't laugh right away. The scalpel that fell to the ground already appeared in Ning Cheng's hand, and moved slowly towards his neck. In the next second, he seemed to have his carotid artery cut open. Die. Chen Yang is not afraid. As a surgeon in the past, he has long been used to life and death, ignoring life, and ignoring his own life. But what scared Chen Yang was, Ning Cheng's temperament and perverted spirit have far surpassed him. Confront Ning Cheng. Chen Yang seems to be facing the natural enemy at the top of the food chain, the superior. Involuntary fear. Fear from the heart. Do you know who I am? The scalpel was held in Ning Cheng's hands and slowly rose. The smooth mirror of the scalpel reflected the light of the street lamp, and reflected on Ning Cheng's eyes. Those cold and ruthless eyes were like two sharp swords piercing Chen Yang's heart. I'm actually the real scalpel killer. A smile appeared on Ning Cheng's alternating light and dark face, which was extremely terrifying. Chen Yang's pupils shrank and looked at Ning Cheng in shock. His face gradually turned red, and his throat seemed to be tightly choked by a big hand, making it hard to breathe. Your killing methods are vulnerable, and your proud heart harvesting operation is just a poor imitation of me. You're not classy, you're so mean, mean is like a sewer bug, it makes me sick. Quote. This moment, Chen Yang's psychological defense was completely broken through. The body kept shaking, his face flushed, he felt that he was completely out of breath and was about to suffocate. Woohoo! Chen Yang made a whimpering sound, his head slowly lowered, buckled to the ground, and worshipped Ning Cheng. Not far away, Zhao Shaoli covered her mouth, holding back her trembling to prevent her voice. The picture in front of me is extremely strange and terrifying. If it wasn't for her reason, Zhao Shaoli would run away if she wanted to. It's really appalling. Ning Cheng's insane temperament is really more like a psychopath than Chen Yang. So much so that Zhao Shaoli mistakenly thought that Ning Cheng was really the scalpel murderer. There is also the bewitching power of words, as if it can penetrate deep into people's hearts and forcibly brainwash others. If this officer Ning used the bewitching power of those words to her, I'm afraid she would do whatever he said. And willingly. Terrible. How's it going, Chen Yang? Looking at Chen Yang's adoration, Ning Cheng smiled coldly. You seem to enjoy the feeling of being toyed with by someone's spirit. Hearing this, Chen Yang suddenly woke up, looking at Ning Cheng in disbelief. On Ning Cheng, that crazy temperament was gone, and it became calm and steady. That scene just now was fake. He was toyed with. Shame and anger followed, making Chen Yang want to shake his fist to vent. But his body has been abolished just now, and he can't use strength. Death is not terrible for you, a person with mental problems. You like toying with the victims, and I think you are being toyed and in the same mood. Quote. For Chen Yang's mental perversion. 210 Ning Cheng has no mercy and just wants to use punitive measures. The scene just now will accompany Chen Yang's execution and become his dream. This is the best mental torture other than the death penalty. Not long after, Zhou Ziyan led the team to arrive and arrested Chen Yang. What's the matter? Why are you with Chen Yang? And he was injured, did you beat him? Ning Cheng nodded. After this guy found out that I was investigating him, he came over and wanted to kill me. And such a crazy murderer. Zhou Ziyan was surprised, seeing such a fierce criminal for the first time. Even those suspects who carried more than a dozen lives on their backs were not so arrogant and dared to target the police. It should be fine, Zhou Ziyan asked concerned. It's okay. In addition to confirming that Chen Yang is the murderer, his motive should also be determined. Ning Cheng said. What is it? Zhou Ziyan was full of curiosity. Zhao Shaoli, who has been by Ning Cheng's side, pleaded, Officer Ning, can you tell me why Chen Yang killed my mother? Chen Yang killed your mother Wang Shuzhen, it should be because of your mother's occupation, and it involves a certain work of betrayal. Ning Cheng sighed and said, as for the second murder case, white-collar Li Rongfang, the reason why Chen Yang killed her may be because of her laziness. Lust and sloth. Zhou Ziyan took a breath. 7 deadly sins. Ning Cheng nodded and said, yes, it is the 7 deadly sins. Chen Yang's family is harmonious, he has no shortage of money, and he does not lack material life. But he has a mental problem, ignores life, and likes to act as God to judge her life. Quote. 7 deadly sins. Fortunately, the pervert Chen Yang was arrested in time. Mu Xiaoyu said with lingering fears, otherwise, 5 victims will die in the future. Why my mother? My mother's career is not what she wants to choose. Zhao Xiaoli muttered to herself, and crystal tears fell from her eyes. Ning Cheng and others fell silent. If given a choice, who would choose that career? A person like Chen Yang is just a pure psychopath who kills for fun. The best outcome for such a person is to go to hell. Ning Cheng not only arrested the criminal suspect Chen Yang, but also found a scalpel in the safe of Chen Yang's house. There are 9 scalpels in the safe. The broken scalpel was also hidden in the safe. Chen Yang was handed over to the Nanlian Township Police Station. When the police car got off, the police escorted Chen Yang into the interrogation room. All the police officers on duty were shocked. There are also those old captains from the city bureau, their eyes are staring. They are still investigating related materials and files at the Nanlian Township Police Station. Just now, the person in charge of the Nanlian Township Police Station informed them that the murderers of Wang Shuzhen and Li Rongfang had been found. The murderer who imitated the scalpel demon murder case was successfully arrested. At first they didn't believe it. But seeing Chen Yang and understanding the whole story, he had to believe it. The scalpel imitation case was solved by Ning Cheng again. This kid is too powerful. It's only been a few days, and we're only halfway through the investigation, so the case was solved. When we came to Nanlian town, I'm afraid it wasn't because of loneliness. The last sibutramine case against contraband and this time the scalpel demon imitation case were both solved by Ning Cheng. In the future, as long as Ning Cheng joins, I will be too lazy to participate. Many old captains of the city bureau complained one after another, not knowing what to say. Behind them, many of the new players looked unhappy. Lu team, it's not so exaggerated, maybe this suspect is not the murderer. Where is it not? The evidence chain has been found, and if there is no proof, this Chen Yang will definitely be found out. But what about Chen Yang's murder motive? A person like Chen Yang has a lot of money, is very rich, and has a harmonious family. There is absolutely no need to kill people. Quote. The young team member did not give up. Maybe there is another secret. You're just not convinced by Ning Cheng. Captain Lu snorted softly. There are so many cases in the world, how can there be a necessary motive for murder? You haven't gone through many cases yet, and you don't know how deep the malice is in the world. Sometimes just a word in a quarrel or one look can kill someone. There is no necessary motive for murder. If you are not convinced by Ning Cheng, you can go and try that Chen Yang to see if he is the murderer. Then I'll go to the trial. The young police officer was still a little unconvinced in his heart. He didn't say it clearly, and went directly to the interrogation room to interrogate Chen Yang. But the results were disappointing. Chen Yang didn't answer at all. When he asked 3 questions, he either kept silent or said he would hire a lawyer. The young policeman jumped angrily and slammed out of the door in a short while. Seeing this, the other elite members of the municipal bureau immediately became interested and went to the interrogation room to ask Chen Yang. But they all came back in vain. It's not just the city bureau's elite detectives. There are also experienced old police officers from Nanlian town. Going to the interrogation room, without exception, is the same result. Chen Yang, the oil and salt don't come in, it seems that the bell still needs to be tied, so it's better to find Ning Cheng. Diaresis. When Nanlian Township police officers were at a loss, they thought of Ning Cheng, who arrested Chen Yang and brought him to justice. So many of us have tried Chen Yang to no avail. Is it useful for Ning Cheng to come? Several city bureau police officers looked embarrassed. But it couldn't stop the call from Bureau Chen of Nanlian Township Police Station. The phone call came to Ning Cheng's mobile phone, who was searching Chen Yang's house. Bureau Chen personally came forward and begged Ning Cheng to interrogate Chen Yang. Okay Bureau Chen, I will go to the police station to interrogate Chen Yang later. Ning Cheng said. Thank you, Officer Ning, so late, I have to trouble you. Bureau Chen said earnestly. Officer Ning's contribution to my Nanlian town will be remembered by our police station. As long as you come to Nanlian in the future, we will definitely treat you as a brother. Chen Bureau is very polite. For the case work, it is obligatory. But please wait a while for Bureau Chen. After I finish my work, I will rush to Nanlian police station to interrogate Chen Yang. When Ning Cheng answered the phone, Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu and others all heard it. The evidence is conclusive. That guy Chen Yang refuses to admit his guilt. Zhou Ziyan asked. That guy Chen Yang is a psychopath. He was tortured by me before he was arrested in the police car. He probably wanted to see me when he entered the police station. You tortured him? Zhou Ziyan asked curiously. What torture? Would a pervert like Chen Yang be afraid of torture? Of course I'm not afraid of physical torture, but psychological torture is indelible. Ning Cheng left Zhou Ziyan, Mu Xiaoyu and others with an intriguing and mysterious smile. After half an hour, Ning Cheng arrives at Nanlian Township Police Station. Bureau Chen personally came to receive them, and let the young police officers of the city bureau eat each other. I'm sorry, Brother Ning, I need you to run so late. There's really no other way. That guy Chen Yang can't get in. He can only ask you, the great God who arrested him, to interrogate him. It's okay, this is my job. After Ning Cheng communicated with Bureau Chen of Nanlian Township Police Station, he ignored the questioning glances from the city bureau and walked into the interrogation room. Chen Yang saw Ning Cheng walk in, the blue veins on his forehead exposed. It's like when the anger value is backlogged to when it is about to explode. Now that the chain of evidence is conclusive, the pair of sneakers was found in your home, and a scalpel was found in your safe. Ning Cheng said lightly. The scalpel has been sent to the identification center, as long as the identification scalpel is the same as the blade left in the body of the deceased Li Rongfeng. Whether you plead guilty or not, you will be convicted. Quote, I won't plead guilty, I haven't lost yet. Chen Yang stared at Ning Cheng, grinning. You don't know why I want to attack Wang Shuzhen and Li Rongfeng. I didn't lose. So that's why you deliberately asked me to interrogate you. In the current situation, whether Chen Yang pleads guilty or not, nothing can stop him from being convicted. Ning Cheng is very clear. Chen Yang's mouth in front of him was hard and salty, and he deliberately led him to talk. The purpose is to repay the resentment of being played with just now. If Ning Cheng begged him and wanted to know Chen Yang's motive for killing, under the spirit of Chen Yang and Aq, they would all feel that this was Ning Cheng's defeat and that it was in his hands. How about it? You are sure that I am the murderer, but you don't know why I committed the crime. You don't know the entire link of the case. Chen Yang stared at Ning Cheng and smiled lightly. I can plead guilty, I can tell you the motive for the murder, as long as you beg me. Single quote. I beg you, why ask you? Ning Cheng smiled slightly. Please, to satisfy your vanity of the spiritual victory law. Or did I just play with you mentally, which made you feel a great insult? So much so that you have to take this approach, to be satisfied. Ning Cheng, no matter what my purpose is, if you don't know my motive for murder, your case will not be successfully solved. Chen Yang clenched his fist tightly, with blue veins on his forehead. Please, I plead guilty, and I will tell you the motive for the murder. Please, if you want to kill, you are nothing more than claiming to be the God who controls life and can arbitrate on the lives of others at will. Quote. Ning Cheng said coldly, we have carried out a meticulous search of your home and found in your room many books about Christ and faith. The murdered Wang Shuzhen and Li Rongfeng only met the requirements of the 7 deadly sins. And because she is a woman, she is weak, so you can easily kill for fun. Quote. Diaresis, if you were a big, burly man, would you dare to go up and swing a knife? Sneering sounds resounded throughout the interrogation room. You see yourself as a god who judges life, but you are just a coward who only dares to wield a knife at someone weaker than you. Ning Cheng. Chen Yang's eyes burst out, and he roared at Ning Cheng like a beast. It was as if the most real mask had been lifted, revealing the ugly and hypocritical face under the mask. That's not my motive, I'm not. Chen Yang blushed and panted violently. I won't plead guilty, I will ask the best lawyer to defend me. Idiot, it's been recorded since I first came in. You've already admitted it. What's the point of admitting or not? You are really mentally ill. Don't worry, the best doctor can't save you, and the best lawyer can't get rid of your guilt. After speaking, Ning Cheng left the interrogation room without looking back. He didn't look back at Chen Yang, who was muttering, I don't plead guilty. This guy's spirit is almost collapsed. Outside the interrogation room, Bureau Chen of Nanlian Township Police Station had been waiting outside. Watching Ning Cheng walk out of the interrogation room, he immediately stepped forward to meet him, and asked anxiously, "How is it, did that guy plead guilty?" "This is his recording, he has pleaded guilty." Ning Cheng handed the recorder to Bureau Chen. After listening to it, Bureau Chen showed an ecstatic expression and kept praising Ning Cheng. Beside Chen Bureau, stood the young detective from the Municipal Bureau and the experienced old detective from the Nanlian Township Police Department. After listening to the recording, they all fell silent. "Very good. Although I don't want to admit it. However, sometimes the gap between people is really big." Chen Yong was arrested and brought to justice within 2 days, and he pleaded guilty to the interrogation in less than 10 minutes. The ability is too shabby. There is simply no way for people to live. Woo-woo-woo.jpg. The next day, after Chen Yang's case was over, the Nanlian Township Police Department invited all the criminal police officers who came to support them to have a dinner and a celebration banquet. The banquet was very lively. As the main force in solving the case, Ning Cheng was always drunk by his friends and colleagues, and then he ate and drank. After spending another night in Nanlian town, he returned to Zhongcheng West Lake District Police Station. After coming back, Ning Cheng and others were honored by the police department and the city bureau. The director, Zhang Chao, was overjoyed and wished to say that it was his subordinates who solved the scalpel demon murder case. Although this isn't a real scalpel demon incident, just a copycat crime together. But the seriousness is more than handsome. The behavior of Ning Cheng and others is enough to be regarded as a long face to win glory. Congratulations to the host for cracking the scalpel demon imitation case. You can reap the following rewards. Reward 1. World-class pistol marksmanship experience. Bonus 2. Track the field of vision map for 1 hour. Reward 3. A Patek Philippe Star Watch. Police station, inside the office. Ning Cheng is accepting Zhang Chao, the director, to ask for credit for him. Suddenly, the system prompt sound came from my mind. Look at the callout on the system panel. Ning Cheng was stunned for 2 seconds. Rewarding the Patek Philippe Star Watch was not very appealing to Ning Cheng. The wealth Ning Cheng has earned in the stock market can easily buy a Patek Philippe. What surprised Ning Cheng was other system rewards he has harvested, such as marksmanship. Ning Cheng's marksmanship has been practiced outside the police academy, but his accuracy is actually quite ordinary. World-class marksmanship that now rewards. This skill is really too powerful. Although the present society is very safe, the criminals encountered are sometimes easily subdued. But Ning Cheng's career is too dangerous. There is no guarantee that you will meet a powerful bandit that day, and having a good marksmanship will not only be able to win by surprise, but also save your life and defeat the enemy. 1 hour tracking view map. What is this skill? Ning Cheng looked at the skill description on the system panel and immediately understood. This tracking vision map is like a map hanging in the game, which can display the enemy's position and track it. Up to an hour. This skill is also a very powerful and practical skill. Ning Cheng is quite satisfied. Ning Cheng, although this case is not a real scalpel demon murder case, you did a great job in this operation. Director Zhang Chao patted Ning Cheng on the shoulder and smiled. I am very satisfied with you, and the Municipal Bureau is very satisfied with you. We will not forget your credit. Thank you Zhang Suo, I just did my due responsibilities, and other colleagues also contributed a lot. Ning Cheng said. Of course I know this, and I will give you credit for this case. Zhang Chao smiled and said, there is another thing, that is, the case of the contraband sibutramine. Do you want to know the result? Single quote. Ning Cheng thought that the Wang Bureau of the City Council had promised to apply for first-class merit for him and promised to be promoted. Of course I want to know the result. Zhang Chaodao. The sibutramine case is very influential and has already been featured on national television. Your application for first-class merit has been approved by the City Bureau, and your police rank has also been promoted from first-level police officer to second-level police inspector. Quote. Even Ning Cheng doesn't care much about fame and fortune, but as an honor for the profession. Merit as a recognition and reward for him. Ning Cheng couldn't help but burst into excitement. Ning Cheng, you must have heard the saying that the third-class leader is standing, the second-class leader is lame, and the first-class leader is lying down. The director Zhang Chao encouraged. if you are so young, you can get first-class merit alive, you are the first person I have ever met. I hope you will not be arrogant or impetuous in the future, and continue to work hard. Zhou Ziyan and Mu Xiaoyu were both standing in the office, looking at Ning Cheng and couldn't help flashing huge envy. As strong as Zhou Ziyan, she led the team in the police station and was the first person to solve the case. Didn't even get a first-class credit. Ning Cheng got it. Not only is he so young in age, but his time in professional police work is so short. It can be seen how powerful Ning Cheng's talent is. It is not an exaggeration to say that he is a genius. Zhou Ziyan is clear. The city bureau gave Ning Cheng this first-class merit. Not only in the case of sibutramine, but also in the case of Ning Cheng, who solved many influential cases. Ning Cheng was able to get the first-class merits because of his true talents and practical learning, as well as the spirit of not being afraid of sacrifice. After leaving the office, many police colleagues looked at Ning Cheng with complicated eyes. As long as Ning Cheng went to the office, they knew that Ning Cheng had successfully won the first-class merit. First-class merit. Only Ning Cheng owns the entire police station. It's really enviable. There is a popular saying on the internet. The third-class leader is standing, the second class is lame, and the first class is lying down. It can be seen how difficult it is to obtain first-class merit. But Ning Cheng got first-class merit, not only got it, but was unscathed. No harm at all. The police department gave Ning Cheng, Mu Xiaoyu and others a week's vacation to solve Chen Yang's case of the demon murder with a scalpel. Let them get ready to rest and recharge. During this time, Ning Cheng did not rest much, but went to the shooting range of Zhongcheng International. Zhongcheng International Design Shooting Range is the only qualified and open shooting range in Zhongcheng, which can be used to practice marksmanship. Although his pistol shooting has reached world-class standards. But there is no man who does not like to practice guns. The moment when the bullet leaves the chamber and hits the bullseye. It seems so satisfying. In the shooting range, Ning Cheng did not fully show his terrifying marksmanship. But a part of it was revealed, and it also shocked many people in the shooting range. Whether it is a wealthy businessman who likes to shoot, or a special forces sniper who used to be from the army, they are all conquered by Ning CDBC. Looking at that superb marksmanship, I am amazed. After the 7-day rest period, Ning Cheng hurried back to the police station and didn't miss it anymore. At noon, after Ning Cheng was done with his business, he was thinking of eating in the police station's cafeteria. I didn't expect a beautiful woman to come. Yi Wanzhou. Ning Cheng suddenly remembered, in the case of Chen Yang imitating the scalpel demon murder. He asked Yi Wanzhou to inquire about the storage location of the provincial newspaper, and owed a favor, promising Yi Wanzhou to eat. But during this time Ning Cheng was only focusing on practicing guns and completely forgot about it. Officer Ning, do you know why I came to the police station to look for you? Yi Wanzhou stared at Ning Cheng with her beautiful eyes. Look at my memory, I forgot these days, it's my fault. Ning Cheng smiled apologetically. Let me invite reporter Yi to dinner today. The last time I solved the case was thanks to the clues you found. Otherwise, the case will not be so easy to solve. Really, then it seems that my role in the case is not small. Yi Wanzhou smiled lightly. Since Officer Ning apologized so sincerely, then I will forgive you and sacrifice my life to accompany the bad guys. Where do reporters want to eat? Ning Cheng asked. I know there's a steakhouse that's delicious, let's go eat steak. Yi Wanzhou suggested. Ning Cheng had no choice but to follow Yi Wanzhou to the western restaurant she mentioned. But at noon in Zhongcheng, the road was congested, and Yi Wanzhou's BMW was stuck in the traffic. I just got stuck in traffic, and now I'm stuck in traffic again, I'm really tired. Yi Wanzhou looked at Ning Cheng helplessly, and sighed boredly. If I had the driving skills of Officer Ning to pass lane 341, I'm afraid it would be over by now. Or leave the car to Ning. Just as Yi Wanzhou was about to speak, Ning Cheng looked at the approaching car beside Yi Wanzhou, and immediately turned the steering wheel. Be careful of the car. Single quote. Bang! A soft crash sounded. Immediately, Yi Wanzhou's vehicle issued a high-pitched siren. The car that hit Yi Wanzhou just now was a white Bentley. A man and a woman came out from under the car. They glanced at their Bentley, and the side of the car was hit with a deep depression. Immediately, The heavily made-up woman next to the man went into a frenzy. I don't have eyes when driving, I didn't see the green light in front of the road, and there was still a traffic jam, what does it mean? Single quote. Now your car looks like my car, you have to pay compensation. Yi Wanzhou was angry and said with a sneer. I parked on the side of the road normally, but you guys wanted to overtake and loaded it into my car. Not only did you not apologize to me, but you also wanted me to compensate. The domineering woman was angry and jealous when she saw Yi Wanzhou's delicate and beautiful face. It's just a low-spec BMW, but you're too embarrassed to drive here. Don't think that if you are beautiful, you cannot compensate, you must apologize. Yi Wanzhou laughed in anger. He had never seen such a shameless woman before. She got out of the car and wanted to argue with the woman. Ning Cheng reached out and stopped her. There's no need to entangle with this kind of woman. It's not a waste of time to go to the traffic police for this kind of thing. When the heavily make-up woman heard Ning Cheng say this, she could not wait to curse directly. But this time, the man beside the woman glanced at the watch on Ning Cheng's wrist, his expression changed slightly, but he held her. Husband, what are you holding me for? They crashed our car, don't they want compensation? If you can bear this breath, I can't bear it. The woman with heavy makeup and bright makeup, Zhang Xiaoli, opened her husband's hand and glared at Ning Cheng. The girl next to me was talking to me, but there was no green light in front of me for a while, and there was a short pause. It didn't cause much traffic disturbance, right? Ning Cheng maintained restraint and did not move angrily said. If you are behind and feel that the traffic jam is coming, you can honk your horn instead of overtaking. Now you are overtaking and causing damage to both of our cars. This responsibility should not be borne by my friends. I think it is more of you. Why is it me? Zhang Xiaoli was immediately angry, and sneered, if you don't compensate today, my mother has your surname. I know people in the traffic police brigade, and the city bureau also knows people. After finishing speaking, Zhang Xiaoli took out her mobile phone. Believe it or not, I'll give you a call, you will not only be liable for the loss, but also have your driver's license revoked. Single quote. I do not believe. Yi Wanzhou has never been a weak character. If it hadn't been for some reason, I wouldn't have tolerated this woman's arrogance. Now that Zhang Xiaoli was riding her face, Yi Wanzhou couldn't bear it any longer. She has even decided, if this woman drives a luxury car in front of her, she has to call to find a relationship. Then Yi Wanzhou will definitely be exposed. As a reporter, Yi Wanzhou is just so rigid. I don't believe it either. Ning Cheng said lightly. Okay, if you don't believe it, then I'll call someone and let you try it out, what good fruit will there be to eat? Zhang Xiaoli was so angry that she had to press the contact number in her phone. Right now, Zhang Xiaoli's husband, Xie Wen, roared at the doctor, enough is enough, do you have any more to finish? Single quote. Zhang Xiaoli was stunned, looking at her husband's gloomy face, she didn't understand why. People didn't start in time when the car hit the car just now, but we overtook the car and collided on our own initiative. It was our fault. Xie Wen said while paying attention to Ning Cheng's face. People have already apologized to us. What about you? You are still aggressive. This accident is our fault. Zhang Xiaoli, what are you going to make a fuss about? Husband, Zhang Xiaoli said puzzled. We are Bentleys, we bought new ones, and it crashed like this, they must compensate. Single quote. Do you still want to pay? Snapped. Zhang Xiaoli covered her hot and painful face and looked at her husband Xie Wen incredulously. On weekdays, her husband Xie Wen's temper is hot and hot. But he wouldn't hit her casually. And because of outsiders. Even in such a case before, her husband Xie Wen might be more arrogant than her. Now that the husband's attitude has such a contrast, it is very likely that something has happened. What is it then? Zhang Xiaoli covered her face, staring blankly at her husband after beating her, and smiled at Ning Cheng. This brother, I'm really sorry. My girlfriend has a bad temper and is too arrogant. If you offend you, tell me that she needs to clean up. Then, Xie Wen took the initiative to hand over a business card. This is my business card. I'm mainly responsible for the crash just now. If you need it, you can call me to compensate. Ning Cheng shook his head and gestured to Xie Wen. I don't need it, leave it to my friend. The strange man noticed the watch on his wrist several times. She should have recognized the watch in her hand, which is Patek Philippe's limited edition star watch. The market price of Patek Philippe's star watch is nearly 3 million, and its value is enough to match the luxury car Bentley driven by men and women. The poor play with cars, and the rich play with watches. People who can afford a 3 million watch are far more powerful than those who can afford a luxury car of the same price. The meaning behind it is also more profound. The two are not the same class. That's why the man in front of him was afraid of Ning Cheng, so he voluntarily gave in and gave birth to a desire to please. Don't hesitate to give his girlfriend a slap. Yi Wanzhou took the man's business card in a daze, but did not expect this result. She was ready to take out her phone to record the upcoming shady scene. I didn't expect things to be resolved so easily. No, my car is already insured, and you don't need to pay. Yi Wanzhou rejected the man's proposal and took Ning Cheng to the restaurant. Watching Yi Wanzhou's vehicle drifting away until the disappearing shadow, Zhang Xiaoli, covering her swollen face, asked her boyfriend Xie Wen. What did I do wrong? Why are you hitting me? Xie Wen glared at him rudely, with a violent face. You are blind, and you dare to be a demon and scold you without seeing someone's identity. If it annoys people and hurts me, Laozi will be the first to spare you. What are their identities? Aren't they driving a BMW? What's so great about them? If you say you're blind, you still don't admit it. That woman driving a BMW is nothing. Usually, if you are arrogant, I'll let you compete with others, but you can see the man beside her clearly. Xie Wen grabbed his girlfriend's neckline and said gloomily. The watch on that young man's hand is a Patek Philippe star watch, which is worth at least 3 million, more expensive than my Bentley. You idiot, you scold you without even looking at it. Laozi didn't slap you hard. It's all light. Patek Philippe's star watch. Zhang Xiaoli took a breath and said in shock, is that Patek Philippe's Starry Sky watch? Could it be that you bought a product to pretend to be a force? It's like you are such a fool to buy a product to pretend to be a force, and don't look at how terrifying others are. Xie Wen swallowed his saliva, recalled looking at Ning Cheng's eyes, and said with lingering fears. Do you know how I felt when I looked at that young man just now? I was terrified throughout the whole process. Over the years, I have seen a lot of Fortune 500 CEOs, but none of that momentum made me tremble like that young man. Quote. Originally, the more Xie Wen looked at Ning Cheng, the more uncertain he felt. Because he found that Ning Cheng's temperament is really stable, too calm, and there is almost no mistakes or flaws. It is like a superior who has experienced great winds and waves, not happy with things, not sad about himself, and has no fluctuations. In this realm, Xie Wen did not dare to offend at all, and completely persuaded him. Do you think that such a person will wear a fake watch? Xie Wen said angrily. But that man looks so young. The woman's voice was much lower, but she was a little unconvinced. The man could not wait to give Zhang Xiaoli another slap, and said angrily, young is young, but it is even more terrifying to be young with such an air. It is not something you and I can afford. I didn't see it. Are they not afraid of you calling someone? I believe it or not, if you call, you might be buried by that man. You have taken over all of my relationships later on. Thank you, Ning Cheng. After getting in the car, Yi Wanzhou showed a charming smile and said to Ning Cheng. Thank me for what? Don't think I don't understand. Yi Wanzhou chuckled lightly. The woman just now was arrogant and domineering, and that man is not easy to mess with. If it wasn't for you, I might have gotten into trouble today. The man's attitude was not very good at first. After looking at you for a while, his attitude became very respectful. Although I don't know what he found in you, it must be because of you. Ning Cheng shook his head and smiled. It's not because of anything, maybe. Before Ning Cheng could finish speaking, Yi Wanzhou interrupted directly. I'm a reporter. Although my power of observation is not as good as yours, my ability to observe words is worse than ordinary people. Ning Cheng smiled helplessly and didn't explain any further. Here, it's that Western restaurant, we can try it, his steak is very juicy. Yi Wanzhou ignored the accident that his car was hit, and still maintained a good mood. But just when the two were about to head to the restaurant. Ning Cheng received a call from the police station. The phone shows Zhou Zian's name. Team Zhou, what's the matter? Ning Cheng asked. There has been a major robbery case at Zhongcheng Bank. The situation is very urgent now and may need your help. On the phone, Zhou Zian's language was urgent. Extraordinary robbery case. Ning Cheng's eyes narrowed. Yes, the robbers are currently estimated to have more than a dozen people, and they are all robbers who want money and not their lives. Now you have hijacked nearly 20 ordinary people. You showed great negotiation skills last time. We need you now. Quote. The language seems to be a bullet coming out of Zhou Zian's mouth quickly. Okay, I see, I'll rush over right away. Ning Cheng got into Yi Wanzhou's BMW without saying a word, and asked, Can I borrow a car? I need a car. What happened? Yi Wanzhou asked in confusion, Is there another mission? Yes, there was a major robbery at Zhongcheng Bank. Now many ordinary people have been hijacked. It is estimated that outside the bank, many police officers are organizing force to rescue them. Ning Cheng said urgently, I think I'm going to owe this meal first, I'm going to the bank. It's okay, the mission is important. Yi Wanzhou immediately guessed the reason why Ning Cheng was asked to go to the bank. Last time he rescued the hostages from the robbers, Ning Cheng showed excellent negotiation skills. Now this rescue. The situation is more critical and requires Ning Cheng's negotiating skills. I'll give you the car key, but I'm going too. Yi Wanzhou sat on the co-pilot and gave the car key to Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng glanced at Yi Wanzhou and hesitated. I'm a provincial newspaper reporter. When I discover news, I have the responsibility to discover it as soon as possible. If you don't let me take the car, I will still go later. Well, you are an adult, you don't need me to analyze the pros and cons for you. Ning Cheng was dissuaded by Yi Wanzhou and drove directly to Zhongcheng Bank. Half an hour later, Ning Cheng drove to Zhongcheng Bank. Around Zhongcheng Bank, the routes extending in all directions have been blocked, and the onlookers have also been isolated outside the long cordon. Inside the cordon, nearly 100 professional police officers squatted outside the bank door, holding bulletproof shields. The situation looks dire. Zhongcheng Bank. In the reception hall on the first floor, all doors are closed. The atmosphere is tense and scary. Daifeng, how is the money in the bank? Be quick, or we might be surrounded by the police. This group of people is really troublesome, and they are quite timid. That girl is not bad. I really want to vent fire. 3 or 5 robbers were holding the door, mumbling dissatisfied. A robber with a pistol stared at the better-looking woman in the bank with lustful eyes. The woman was startled and shrank back. Little girl, why are you hiding? I've fallen in love with you, and you dare to hide. Are you impatient? The lean and fierce robber walked over slowly with a wanton lewd smile at the corner of his mouth. The woman was full of fear, and clung to her boyfriend's hand with both hands. Upon seeing this, the boyfriend blocked his body in front of his girlfriend, but ushered in a severe beating. Ah! The screams of pain sounded one after another. The abducted people looked away, unable to bear to watch any longer. Stop hitting, don't hit, you can do whatever you want. The woman cried and knelt at the feet of the robber, begging, 213. That's what it looks like. Daifeng, do it faster, we can also drive meat, we have been hiding in the ravine for a long time. The other robbers laughed at the robber named Sun Feng. Shingle, they are all brothers, women or clothes, I will make you cool later. Cool. Sun Feng smiled generously, grabbed the woman's hand, and pulled it to the side to vent. The people in the bank were guarded by robbers. There are old and frail old people, young people in bright clothes, and rich businessmen and celebrities in luxury goods. At this moment, they all closed their eyes together, and their bodies shivered. Couldn't bear to watch what happened next. Beast. The young man who was beaten looked at his girlfriend about to be violated, his eyes were split, and his eyes could not wait to eat people. But he immediately ushered in a brutal beating, and the beating was breathless. Stop hitting, I'll do everything. The girl closed her eyes, her heart full of despair. That's good, be obedient, do whatever you want, and let your boyfriend go. The robber Sun Feng patted the woman's smooth face with a smug smile on the corners of his mouth. Just as he was about to take the next step, committing a crime. Suddenly a gun was on his forehead. Boss, what's wrong? Feeling the cold touch on the top of his head, Sun Feng raised his head and looked at his boss Lu Heilong in surprise. If you want to die, I will fulfill you, don't drag me down. Lu Hailong is not tall, and his appearance is very ordinary, and it may not be recognizable when placed in a crowd. But at this moment, the momentum on his body is very strong, which makes people terrified. The police have come outside, and they are about to surround the bank. After getting the money, I want to be free. After I go out, I want to be free, but now you dare to make trouble for me, lousy shot you. The police surrounded the bank. The robber Sun Feng felt a bucket of cold water poured over his head instantly, and he was no longer in the mood just now. The eyes of the people who were hijacked in the bank all shone with hope at this moment. The arrival of the police. For robbers, the danger of death. There is hope for them. When the people are at their most dangerous, they are always protected by the loveliest. That sense of security in the past is even more precious at this time. When the robber heard the news of the arrival of the police, many of their faces changed greatly, and they became like a concubine. What should the boss do now? We will listen to you. More than a dozen robbers around the bank looked at Lu Hailong, some indifferent, some timid. All of their robbers looked at Lu Hailong and pinned their hopes on Lu Hailong. The police surrounded the bank. Although they moved quickly, it did not exceed my expectations. Lu Hailong's face was calm, and he said calmly, "It doesn't matter if you come, hurry up and grab the money, and then implement Plan B." "What is Plan B?" Sun Feng asked curiously. "Plan B is a plan to save lives, and I'm specifically dealing with plans made by the police." Lu Hailong calmly glanced at the robber brothers in front of him, and pointed to 2 or 3 of them. Zhongcheng Bank is the largest state-owned bank in the province, with 5 floors. Qingxi, Gangxi, Bald, Xiaozhou, you 4 go to the back door, bring your guns to block the door, I don't want any trouble, and I don't want to see the police break through. Zhengfeng, Dabing, Judiao, Yaoji, the 4 of you guard the roof of the bank to prevent the police from breaking through from the roof. And Sun Feng, Xiao Yan, the 5 of you guard the main gate on the 1st floor of the bank, guard the hostages, and prevent the police from breaking through. Lu Hailong quickly made arrangements, and took out the wireless walkie-talkie from the handbag he was carrying and handed it to everyone. "Have you seen this in the movie?" Sun Feng looked at the wireless walkie-talkie, his eyes lit up. "Boss, you've prepared enough, you even have a walkie-talkie. This is the reason why the boss is the boss, and you, Sun Feng, can only be a subordinate." A yellow-haired young robber next to Lu Hailong disdainfully said. Sun Feng looked at Huang Mao with a stern look, but didn't say anything. "At a time like this, I don't want to see any infighting. Who would dare to stab me now? Lousy was the first to break him, do you understand?" Lu Hailong calmly threatened. "All of us have one purpose, that is to take the money out and enjoy it. This time, I am very well prepared and have a well-planned plan. I will take you all out, provided that you are obedient and dare to fight. You all know that you are all gangsters with a few lives on their backs, and you can't go back. The only way to go back is to die. If the police are allowed to break into the bank, you know better than me, what will happen to us, do you understand?" Single quote. All the robbers didn't speak, they all agreed with the boss Lu Hailong's words. Among these gangsters, at least they have a life behind their backs, and there is no turning back. They don't want to go to prison, and there is only one way to go to the dark. That's why they were bewitched by the boss Lu Hailong and gathered together to carry out this big action. Become a popular and spicy drinker, but fail to go to hell. We understand, we must all listen to the boss. Sun Feng took the lead and nodded and asked, "Where are you, boss?" "Somewhere on the 5th floor of the bank. I will direct the remote control layout and manipulate you." Lu Hailong made no secret. The police are not vegetarians, we will definitely have a conflict, and a conflict will break out later. We must preserve our living strength to the greatest extent, so that we have the qualifications to negotiate and have the hope of escaping. I am your hope. If I am caught, you will all die. If I hadn't died, I might have exchanged the hostages for you guys, understand? Lu Hailong's words convinced everyone. Now that the police are here, they can't give them any more options. Soon, more than a dozen gangsters quickly followed the arrangement of the leader, Lu Hailong, and scattered all parts of the bank to deploy defenses to prevent the police from penetrating the defense. In the reception hall on the 1st floor, seeing that there are many fewer robbers, the hearts of the hijacked people fell to the bottom. Listening to the plan of the gangster leader Lu Hailong just now, he is definitely not an ordinary person. The planning of this robbery was carefully planned and arranged. If the police want to implement a rescue plan, the difficulty will be quite high, and there may be injuries. Ning Cheng went to Zhongcheng Bank. Zhou Ziyan was in uniform, standing outside the cordon, waiting for Ning Cheng. What's the matter with Zhongcheng Bank? Ning Cheng hurriedly asked when he saw Zhou Ziyan. It's complicated, Zhou Ziyan said solemnly. This time is a rare case of robbery in the country. Except for the gangsters of the past few centuries in the 1990s, almost no one can reach such a scale. Single quote. According to our preliminary estimate, there may be as many as 16 robbers in it. All of them are desperados who bear human lives. They don't care about life at all, they only love money, not life. 16. The reporter Yi Wanzhou, who was standing behind Ning Cheng, covered his mouth, and Cheng 1.2 held back his shock. In today's high-tech, high-intensity crackdown on crime, it is rare that there are nearly a dozen robbers. Ning Cheng's face was solemn. This bank robbery is indeed rare, comparable to the gangsters of the last century. Moreover, it is quite difficult to rescue the hostages in the bank and catch all the criminals. Far more than Ning Cheng's previous arrests. How many hostages are in the bank? Ning Cheng asked. A rough estimate in the bank is that there are more than 10 staff members, and there are nearly 20 ordinary people, and there are at least 30 in total. Ning Cheng took a deep breath. More than a dozen criminals and more than 30 people were taken hostage. If you want to carry out a rescue operation, the difficulty will be quite high. And this group of criminals are not the sophisticated criminal suspects. It's all the gangsters who kill without blinking an eye, are lawless and disregard human life. Rescue is difficult and risky. Uncertainty is higher. No one will know whether the rescue operation will have sacrifices. Is it the sacrifice of the police, or the sacrifice of the hostages? What should I do now? There are more than 10 robbers in Zhongcheng Bank, and more than 30 ordinary people are taken as hostages. How can this rescue go on? Ning Cheng couldn't help asking eagerly. Whatever needs me, I will try my best to complete it. Ning Cheng, calling you here is indeed where you need to be used, but not now. Zhou Ziyan took a deep breath and said solemnly, this rescue operation is very urgent and dangerous, and you cannot do it alone. At present, the chief person in charge of this operation is Captain Li Gang, come with me. Zhou Ziyan brought Ning Cheng to Li Gang, the captain of the Armed Police Squadron, 23. The middle-aged man in front of him was wearing a police uniform. He was the captain of the armed police, Li Gang, whom Ning Cheng knew when he rescued the hostages at the IFC last time. He was also the person in charge of the operation. Ning Cheng, thank you for coming. Li Gang reached out and shook Ning Cheng's hand, and said with a serious face, I asked Xiaozhou to inform you just now that you are here. I'm really happy that you can come. It's okay, it's my responsibility and obligation to pay for the people. Ning Cheng asked, what do I need to do to negotiate with these robbers? Negotiations must be negotiated, but not now, at least we need to know the situation and information of this group of people. Li Gang handed Ning Cheng an information file and said cautiously, this is the information of the group of gangsters inside. Ning Cheng, you should understand it first. We cannot fight unprepared battles. Ning Cheng took the information and flipped through it. Li Gang told him while telling him, we just received a call from the insiders of the bank, telling us that Zhongcheng Bank was robbed, and there were at least a dozen kidnappers inside. Later, the bank insider was found by the gangster to make a phone call and was shot to death. Our Zhongcheng police immediately mobilized a large number of police forces to surround Zhongcheng Bank, and found information about the gangster inside. The organizational structure of that group of gangsters is very fragmented. Most of them are wanted criminals on the internet, with one or even multiple lives on their backs, and the boss who organized this group of gangsters is this unremarkable man. Li Gang pointed to the ordinary-looking man on the file, took a deep breath and said, this guy is called Lu Heilong, who once killed his wife and cheating lover, with only 2 lives on his body. Although these 2 human lives are not much to be seen, they are not comparable to many gangsters in this organization. But in fact, this guy has a very bright mind. He once controlled his subordinates to kill by remote control, and the death toll was as high as 16. Although those people were not killed by him, they all died because of him. Quote. Ning Cheng took a look at the profile of Lu Heilong, the leader of the bandit organization. According to the file display, this Lu Hailong has no relevant experience in the army or bodyguard. An executive of a financial company. Later, his wife had an affair and cheated on him. After being discovered by Lu Hailong, he killed both his wife and lover. Since then, Lu Hailong has embarked on the wanted road of desperation, traveled south and north, and successfully escaped the pursuit of the police for 7 years. During this process, Lu Hailong caged 213 subordinates and organized a criminal gang with dozens of people, which was later annihilated by the police. Lu Hailong successfully escaped, and later he built a criminal gang, was destroyed again, and escaped successfully. This kind of experience, in the 7-year escape career, has been 4 or 5 times. You can see the cunning of Lu Hailong. Ning Cheng's face has become solemn. He is very clear. Lu Hailong is a person with low physical fitness and no obvious advantage of force. Being able to suppress fugitives who are ferocious and disobedient, and organize them into criminal gangs, it can be seen that Lu Hailong is quite good in management and wisdom. The May Day holiday is approaching, and there are a lot of things to do. Wen Yan is not full-time, and is busy with company affairs. The update will speed up. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.